Tonight on the Black Channel, we're going to discuss a little sports here, but also in its greater societal context, because remember, sports is a war allegory in this society. And the people who set it up want to make it clear that they're winning all the wars all the time, and anything that impacts that image is considered to be an existential threat. And I'm going to deal with a number of different people here tonight. We're going to start with Shedeur Sanders. I'm not a big sports person, but Deion Sanders' son, who they have dominated the headlines in college sports for the last 2-3 years. And finally, it was time to go to the NFL, and a young man who should have been picked at the top of the draft. But that is not what happened. That is not what happened at all. And a number of people have noticed it and taken notice of it there. Here's an article here, of course, from Fox News. Of course, the alt-right's favorite news outlet. NFL tries to send message to Shedeur Sanders and his father with draft slide, ex-NFL star says. So it says that former NFL star Robert Griffith III offered his take on Shedeur Sanders' situation on Saturday as the former college star fell into the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns. 5th round. Sanders had this is Fox talking. Sanders had questionable interviews with teams during the draft process, according to multiple reports. Just remember that phrase, we'll come back to it. That appeared to hamper any notion of him being selected in the first round, let alone rounds 2 through 4. Robert Griffith III said on his podcast with his wife Greta that there was a bigger message being sent to the son of Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. Quote, Shedeur Sanders should not have dropped out of the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. He dropped out of the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft because it's 100% personal, Griffin said. NFL GMs, scouts, and the NFL at large are trying to teach Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders a lesson. Now, this is where you are today. Very glad that Robert Griffith said it that way. Very glad you said it that way, because making an example of black folk who are not, quote, unquote, in their place is the American way. And I prefer white supremacy and even suspected white supremacy to be in the open. I don't want to have any sort of confusion about what they're doing. None whatsoever. I prefer for it all to be out there in the open where it belongs. That's where I prefer for it to be. That doesn't bother me when they come out in the open with it. It only bothers me when they don't. And here's what Robert Griffith said next. He said, it's a lesson that they didn't teach Peyton Manning. It's a lesson they didn't teach Eli Manning, the Mannings, when Eli said he wasn't going to play in San Diego. A lesson that they didn't teach Andrew Luck and his family when he was the perennial number 1 draft pick from the time he was a freshman in college. A lesson that they did not teach Baker Mayfield when he came out of Oklahoma. And a message that they did not teach Joe Burrow when he came out of LSU. So what do I mean by all of that? Yes, Robert, what do you mean by all that? What I mean is that all of these guys had the confidence. Many of them had the bravado that is similar to what Shedeur Sanders has, but none of them were punished in a way he's been punished. So, of course, Robert Griffith stopped short of saying the obvious there. They stopped short of saying the obvious there, and it's very obvious what it is, because that is the entire point. The entire point is we are here to you have been dominant on the field, but you see, on the field, you can't really rig things. But we're dominant in the place where competition doesn't matter. We're dominant where your ability to perform doesn't matter. We can say down is up and up is down. You see on the football field, you can't do that, but we can do that. Down is up and up is down. Whatever we say the color is today, that's what it is. And everybody just has to get on board with it. So that tells you a lot right there. But I'll show you something that tells you even more. I'll give you something even more. If you go to Twitter and you type in Shedeur Sanders draft, if you go to Twitter and type in Shedeur Sanders draft, this is what you end up with here. We'll come back to this statement here in just a few moments. We'll come back to that. You have folks sitting up here. The prank thing, they call that a prank. You have folks sitting up here trying to defend these things, by the way. So just understand white supremacy is not about fairness and certainly not about justice. It is about power and injustice and harming people. That's what it's founded on. Why is Shedeur Sanders falling in the 2025 NFL draft? As a former NFL scout, allow me to explain. No, you don't have to. He's not good enough. Okay. All right. You see folks here, the MAGA meatheads are out here doing what they do. So that just tells you it's completely political. It's completely racial. Quinn Ewers is killing a new animal every hour he's not drafted. And we're all talking about Shedeur Sanders. Good point. Good point. Then there's this guy here. Don't know who this is. Never heard of him. All righty. I got a few suspicions. He's got that Coleman Cruz hairline. What? I got a few suspicions here. So it's about your attitude, not race, dude. He likely dropped because of attitude. We just showed you a laundry list of white players for whom, quote unquote, attitude is never an issue or a problem when it is a white athlete. You never hear that word attitude when it's a white athlete. That's never the problem. Then there's this guy here. Shedeur hasn't been drafted because he's not a leader. He's an entitled brat with an ego the size of Mount Rushmore. If you actually went to class and got your degree, would you follow this clown? You got to understand, there's a bunch of dudes out there, bunch of white supremacists and suspected white supremacists. When they take a look at a young black male doing something they themselves in their prime, if you call it that, could never do. Remember, white supremacy believes in attacking children because that's the only thing that's their size. So they see a young black male who was doing 10 times as much with his life at that age than they ever did, and immediately they show their true colors on it. That is the sick, twisted mind of the white supremacists. Now, then I'll go ahead and deal with this here now. Jax Ulbrich got Shedeur Sanders' number from an iPad he shouldn't have been using. And he decides to make a prank call with it here. And who is he? Well, here's the article from People magazine. Son of an NFL coach admits to prank calling Shedeur Sanders during the draft. Quote, I made a terrible mistake. That's what he's saying. Oh, I made a terrible mistake. It's interesting about these mistakes out there, isn't that interesting? Very interesting there. I'll go ahead and read you what he said. Just remember, this is what they're allowing to go on out there. On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. And then the statement from the Atlanta Falcons. Earlier in the week, Jax Ulbrich, the 21-year-old son of defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, unintentionally...
What?
Isn't this amazing? In the system of white supremacy, they go straight for explaining. Here they are, defense counsel. How do you know it was unintentional? Unintentionally came across the draft contact phone number for Shedeur Sanders off an open iPad while visiting his parents' home and wrote the number down to later conduct a prank call. Jeff Ulbrich was unaware of the data exposure or any facets of the prank and was made aware of the above only after the fact. Why did he still have that number? A defensive coordinator? Why does the defensive coordinator still have his number if Atlanta isn't interested in him? Does that make any sense that he still got that number and you all are not interested in him? Why does he still have it if they're not? I'm white and I say so. The Atlanta Falcons do not condone this behavior and send our sincere apologies to Shedeur Sanders and his family who we have been in contact with to apologize to, as well as facilitate an apology directly from Jax to the Sanders family. Oh, so your dad's employer had to press you on this right here. So, yeah. We have also been in contact with the NFL and will continue to cooperate fully, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. To recap from the tweet over here, Jax Ulbrich got Shedeur Sanders' number from an iPad he shouldn't have been using, waited days or weeks until the draft to make the prank call, filmed and posted a video making the call, waited days to make an apology, no realistic punishment either, just loser behavior. I mean, so I'm white and I say so. So it's par for the course. Par for the course. Then you got Emmanuel Acho. Okay, Emmanuel Acho wants to weigh in on it. Okay, Joy Taylor's nowhere around, but Emmanuel's here.
Yo, I'm actually livid at this prank call to Shedeur Sanders. Now, mind you, there are several prank calls made during draft season, but do you know how cruel, do you know how malicious you have to be to prank call someone who you know the entire freaking world is watching, waiting on their draft? I've waited round after round after round.
White supremacy is about superseding your importance. That's the whole point. White supremacy is about stealing your moments, stealing your spotlight, putting the attention on them. That's what it's about. That's the whole core of it. So if you do not understand that that is their pathology and that that is their ideology, then you'll sit up here and be caught unawares. If you knew all this information in advance, of course, you know, absolutely, that's the whole point. The whole point is to Donald Trump you. That's the whole point. The whole point is to get all the attention on themselves at your expense. And doesn't matter the age of the offender. That is the entire point. This is what they're being raised and taught. This is what's being groomed in the home. White supremacy is a religion. And this is one of the tenets of the religion. Black folk, you didn't make rock and roll. Damn Ike Turner and Rocket 88. Why, Elvis Presley made rock and roll. Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, the ones who were hanging out with black folk, they made it. Of course, it has to be egregious because it's not dominance if it's not egregious. So yes, it has to be big, in your face, outlandish, outrageous, because it's not power if it's not abusive. So that's the whole point.
For my phone to ring during the draft, drafted in the 6th round, and you're literally standing there with the pressure of all your friends, your family, loved ones, and in Shedeur's case, the entire national sports world waiting on your call. to premeditatedly get Shedeur's number from your dad like a fool and prank call this person when he is waiting for his hopes and dreams to be realized in front of friends, in front of family, in front of his loved ones, in front of the national sports world, to go out of your way to be so malicious and cruel tells me you've never accomplished anything in your life. You've never done anything worth anything in your life.
Folks, let me be clear about this next part here. If this had been a black coach, a black defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, water boy, if this had been a black employee of an NFL team and his son, that this happened, his son goes off and prank calls Peyton Manning on draft day, prank calls Eli Manning on draft day, prank calls Tim Tebow, Aaron Rodgers on draft day. If this were a black coach or a black employee and his son did the exact same thing, do you think we'd be getting the message, oh, well, you know, we're understanding and we're looking into it? Can you imagine, you want to talk about fathers and their sons. Can you imagine Archie Manning standing there with Peyton Manning and somebody has prank called his son in the NFL and the Falcons like, ooh, well, you know, I mean, boys be boys, you know, he's kind of right, you know, it's just things happen there. Are you kidding me? There would be nothing you could say. They would attempt to elevate this to a criminal offense. They would get you for some misuse of the telecommunications system. They would elevate this to a criminal offense. Can you imagine a black coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator? Can you imagine them and their 21-year-old son is recording himself calling Tom Brady? What? Calling Tom Brady on draft day. And you still have a job by the weekend. You're still employed with that team by the weekend. Please tell me, you can call Troy, could you call Troy Aikman and his family on draft day? So you could do that? Because I don't think you can. As a matter of fact, I know you can't. So I just wanted to go ahead and bring that to light because you know damn well we'll be damned if you're going to have your son, Ladarius Jackson, is sitting there calling Tom Brady from a number that he got off of his dad's iPad. They would be saying, dude, you shouldn't even have that number anymore. You knew we weren't going to draft him. Oh, we got to fire you, man. You're going to be fired. You're going to be blacklisted. You got to go. You got to go, man. We can't keep you. You got to go. Hey, them's the breaks, man. We can't keep you around. You're a security risk. You know, this was reckless and irresponsible. This was confidential information. You've demonstrated that you cannot be trusted with confidential information from the team. The other thing is, you wouldn't be seeing about the son. There would be headlines with the son and his father. If this was a black NFL coach and his son, all the headlines and papers and websites would be showing pictures of him and his son. They'd be showing pictures of him and his son. Instead, the headlines look like this. So you see, it clearly says son of NFL coach and Mr. Prank calling Shedeur Sanders. And they put a picture not of the person they're talking about. They put a picture of Shedeur Sanders. You still don't think that this is collusion. You still don't think they work together on this stuff. You still don't think that's what it is. Still don't think that's what it is. Then there's you see a bunch of folk trying to explain, trying to say this stuff. He refused to work out at the combine, bombed interviews, according to who, told teams not to draft him if they weren't ready to change their franchise and their culture. When you go and take a look at that, a reporter asked Shedeur about where, places Jackson State and Colorado, and said, everywhere you've been, you have changed the culture. That's what the reporter said. The reporter said it to him. Everywhere you've been, you've changed the culture. And if you're drafted, do you intend to continue doing the same thing? Which is very rational. For example, most of the teams in the NFL are struggling. So, it's not like the league is doing great. Let's be clear. It's not a fantastic draft going on there. Not a fantastic draft. But by the way, because you're going to see this thing said a number of different times, I want to go ahead. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find the audio, if I can find the video itself. Let me see if I got the video itself here, as a matter of fact. With folks talking about, he said, teams need to, if you ain't going to change the franchise to change the culture, don't get me. Well, let's see what they said so that you all can hear it in its full context.
To have them have related ability, for them to get to know me, for us to make everything smooth. So I came from an HBCU, then I went Power 5. Those two type of different players, and it's very diverse, and getting to know people, talk to people, and making everything genuine. So the path and everything I had, even with Dad being a coach, it's still been a challenge. It's still been everything because he's my dad. So you can never want to come off a certain way to people. So that's why when I'm here interacting with people, I love interacting with people because so they could truly get to know me and not just know clicks or anything like that.
Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the audio up here as much as I can because the reporters are talking, but you can barely hear them. So I'm going to turn the volume up for you all when the reporters are asking him questions here so that you all can hear exactly what they were saying to the best of our ability.
Change the culture at Jackson State.
Yeah.
Change the culture at Colorado.
Okay, so he said you changed the culture at Jackson State. You changed the culture at Colorado. This is the reporter saying this. Shedeur didn't jump up there and just say, hey, I'm Shedeur Sanders, the so fine, and I'm putting the NFL on notice. If you're going to get me, baby, I'm taking over the team, and you're going to have to switch up every damn thing for me. New colors, new stripes, new shoes, new everything. That's not what happened. So you saw he finished answering one question, and then this is what the reporter says to him.
So that's why when I'm here interacting with people, I love interacting with people because so they could truly get to know me and not just know clicks or anything like that.
Change the culture at Jackson State.
Yeah.
Change the culture at Colorado. Winning everywhere.
Yeah.
What can NFL franchise and fan base expect out of Shedeur Sanders when he comes in and changes the culture and the path of their team?
That's
Okay, the reporter said, so what can an NFL team and its fan base expect when Shedeur Sanders shows up on their team to change the culture again? So the reporter was the one who phrased it in that manner. All he did was follow up on what the reporter said. But he's the one who said, you changed the culture at Jackson State. You changed the culture at Colorado. What can an NFL team and its fan base expect when you come to their team and you change the culture there? Now, let's be very, very clear, folks. This has never been controversial. This has never been a controversial issue before now.
yeah.
What can NFL franchise and fan base expect out of Shedeur Sanders when he comes in and changes the culture and the path of their team?
That's the plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't get me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why NFL franchise should pick me.
Okay, and the point is, if your team is losing and your team is a dog and your team is not winning and people don't love the game and they're not performing, he's been to places that were lackluster, were not performing, were not in gear. He showed up and him and his dad energized things. And he's like, okay, if you're not trying to change the team, don't bring me people. When you brought LeBron James to your team, were you bringing him there because you wanted to keep the same team? What? No, you brought in LeBron because the whole thing was, hey, we want to change our fortunes. When New Orleans brought Drew Brees here to Louisiana, it wasn't so we could do business as usual. You brought in Drew Brees because you're expected to change things. When Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, left New England, went to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay brought him in specifically because we're going to change everything. When they brought Troy Aikman to Dallas, we're going to change everything. Brett Favre to Green Bay, we're going to change everything. Eli Manning to the Giants, we're going to change everything. I don't give a damn who you're talking about or where they go to. James Harden, LeBron, Steph Curry, Shaquille O'Neal. When they come to a team, hey, we ain't gonna do business as usual. You didn't bring me here because you're winning. You brought me here because you ain't winning and you want to win. Okay, if you're not trying to change what you're doing and put something great out there on the field, don't get me, because I'm all about changing it up so we winning. If everything's fine, why you need to draft me? So what this is all textbook. This was never controversial. This was never a bone of contention before now. The young man's letting you know, hey, if you don't want to change the way y'all do things, all of us have seen players over the years who got either drafted to teams or they had to leave one team and go to another, or they signed a contract and you didn't, if it's Jerry Jones or somebody like that, or Al Davis, and you don't know what they're going to do. It's like, hey, bruh, You paying me money, but don't sign me up to your team if we ain't gonna change the way we do things. Okay, I got the bag, now I need a ring. So if y'all are just gonna do business as usual, don't bring me. Because if I show up, I'm here to change the way y'all are doing things, because the way you doing things ain't working. Now, that's what you want to see. He's not talking about money. He's talking about performance. This has never been an issue. This is what we've always wanted to see right up until now. And the point that Robert Griffith III was making was that this is a hazing. This is a hazing of Deion Sanders and his son to let you know that you ain't going to come here and be bigger than the NFL. Because like Michael Jackson, if you are bigger than the industry, then you can control the industry, and we stole it fair and square. So let the hazing begin. So you saw what they said on Twitter there, and I wanted to play that for you so that all of you heard it in its proper context. Boy, they big mad. They big mad over there. And like I said, if you go down the list over there, you go down the line, this is what you keep coming up with. Now then there comes this ridiculous wretch, Courtney McKinney, University of Alabama, music lover, sassy and not afraid to show it, street name Meemaw.
Auntie, chill.
Y'all, we done went from Karens to Susans. We done went from Becky's to Karens to Susans to Meemaw. Somebody's Meemaw is trying to speak on Shedeur Sanders. Stop the damn world and let me off. Somebody's Meemaw from Alabama has the nerve to get in public and claim that she's gonna speak on Shedeur Sanders. This is the crazy world that we live in now, folks. This is the one we in. This is not a simulation. This is not a drill. Shedeur Sanders not being drafted in the first round was a win for America. 1 million impressions. She's got 23,000 followers and yet 1 million impressions. So that just tells you that when you take a look here, you can see it's a certain segment of the society. Oh man, I couldn't help but notice there's a lot of similarities going on here. Lot of similarity going on. So y'all got to watch out for, these alt-right uniforms. Back when the Gulf Wars were going on, remember the contractors? I taught y'all about that back then, wearing their khaki pants and sunglasses, the military contractors uniform, even for folks who were never in the military or did not work for a security company contracting. Yeah, they're wearing the uniform to let you know, we're all of the same mind, the same ideology. So it doesn't even matter if they've never been in the military, never been to Iraq, never been out the trailer park. They're wearing the uniform to let you all know that, yeah, this is the uniform of those of us of the hive mind. And she's telling you that was a win for America. How is it anti-American? What about Shedeur Sanders is anti-American? People, Shedeur Sanders ain't doing nothing that Donald Trump don't do every day.
And deal with it.
I dare anybody to show me one thing that Shedeur Sanders does or says that Donald Trump hasn't done for the last 40 years and has kicked it into overdrive in the last decade. Shedeur Sanders is downright humble pie compared to Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump is the example and fine, how is it that Shedeur Sanders is not? There's not a single thing that you can say about Shedeur Sanders, no word that him or his father have said, that Donald Trump isn't 5 times as boisterous and failing. By the way, one more thing, and failing. So the same folk who support Trump and love it when he does that, when your kid shows up, all of a sudden, oh, that's not American. That's a problem. Tell us more. What's the problem with it? What's the difference? We don't see what it is. How is it okay for Trump and not for him? Why don't you tell us the difference? The inside analysis you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. This one right here is kind of telling. It says, this was Tyler Shaw at the Combine, and he just got drafted to the New Orleans Saints. What? Before Shedeur Sanders, LMAO. I'm sorry, it's getting racist now. Now, people, you can take a look at that. Take a look at where he is throwing that ball. Take a look at where he's throwing that ball. You would have to be damn me the Flash to catch this thing. Does that fella need my glasses? Tyler, do you need my do you need the number to my optometrist? Clearly you do. Somebody get me his number from the coach's iPad. This will not be a prank call either, Tyler. I know you're going to feel like this is a prank call. I assure you, young man, it is not. You need my optometrist. Trust me, he's going to get you straightened out. There might actually be a good quarterback in there somewhere if you can get him with 20/20 vision. Damn. People, this is something on a gag reel. That was a gag reel. This is a gag reel performance. And by the way, this isn't his only one. What? Folks, the reason why people can find this video is because this isn't his only way of doing this. He's known for it. Oh, no. This isn't DEI, remember? This isn't DEI. You should be chosen on performance, remember? You shouldn't be chosen for the color of your skin. You should be chosen for performance. Here are all the you should be chosen for performance, people, saying that performance doesn't matter. Yeah, the same folks who say you should only choose by performance. Okay, Shedeur is the best out there. Damn performance. Back the blue. January 6th. Damn the police. So yeah, folks, right there, he is not seeing double. He must be seeing triple. He must be seeing backwards in time. This is not like 21-24 vision. This is like 30-30 vision. He's just throwing the ball at the little blur he sees down the field. He don't know which one it is. And I'm talking about, boy, he tried to put some heat on that ball. He had a full second to seeing him, and okay, here you go. Run a little faster. Oh, hey, Jamal, if you had sped up a little bit, you could have caught that. Y'all, can you imagine what the Saints preseason is going to look like? Damn. Oh, man. Can you imagine what the Saints preseason is going to look like here? With Marty McPhail? Russell Wilson going to be sitting in Pittsburgh somewhere talking about, y'all let that damn Jason Black talk, y'all into not drafting me. Wish you would have done it now, don't you? Russell Wilson and Ciara going to come down here to the Superdome. She going to be twerking and blaming me. Yeah, y'all could have drafted Russell. At least Russell can throw the ball straight. Listen to that Jason Black and messed up your whole team. Oh, boy. You got folks hating already. He built a custom draft room. I mean, take a look at this is what they're hating on. You're not broke enough. Hey, you're not struggling. You're too confident. If Donald Trump did this, they'd all be saying, go MAGA. They'd all be saying American excellence. Ain't that right, Fox News? If this was Donald Trump, they would be saying American excellence and American exceptionalism. Remember? If this was Donald Trump and his kids, if this was Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, they would be saying American exceptionalism. Hey, if you're that good, no reason to hide it. If you're that good, he's confident. Well, he's produced results, so. Self-professed Christians shouldn't be flashing briefcases of cash and rapping profanity while glorifying sex, money, and cars. Pictured, Shedeur Sanders with thousands of dollars in jewelry and $100,000 in cash at his NFL draft party where he performed his song, Perfect Timing. Let me get this straight now. Let me get this straight. The right-wing MAGA nuts, Donald Trump, whose key slogan from the previous election was grab him by the damn. He said if he's around the females, he's got authorization to just grab him by the. Remember? That was Donald Trump's theme song. Showing money? Profanity? Are you kidding me? Donald Trump has spent the last 4 decades doing all of this, and oh yeah, isn't Trump Mr. Christian now? I'm just wondering, somebody go take a look at old John Root's profile and see if he's criticized Trump the same way, since very clearly being rich and profanity and glorifying sex and money is a sin. I wonder if he's got the same energy for, I don't know, somebody who has real power, the president of the United States, or if he considers that to be all good. That ain't no problem. Folks, this is how far unhinged they are. Straight over the edge. This is what they got to do. This is what they got to do here. Understand something. These are folks who never could play the sport. They're hoping for other things. And the way in which you deal with this is that you outperform them. That's the way you deal with that. You outperform them. Now, glad Robert Griffith said this. Shedeur Sanders didn't need to be humbled. His confidence shouldn't offend your insecurities. His play showed that he should not have fallen out of the first 3 rounds of the draft. 1.6 million impressions. And that's another thing that we kept seeing here in the comments. I'm not going to go click on the post, but in the comments, you kept seeing people talking about, especially up here on the Sunshades MAGA up here, the Sunshades Maggots. He needs to be humbled. Shedeur needs to be humbled. Who the hell are you to talk about who needs to be humbled? Who the hell are you? What team do you play for? What team drafted you all up here? Fresh out of the 60 and olders club, what team drafted you? Talking about he needs to be humbled. So Peyton Manning didn't need to be humbled. Ryan Leaf didn't need to be humbled. Andrew Luck didn't need to be humbled. Bryce Harper doesn't need to be humbled. Damn! Isn't that interesting? So the white athletes don't need to be humbled. Travis Kelce and his brother don't need to be humbled. He's sitting up here, remember, pushing the damn coach of the team, remember? At the damn Super Bowl. He doesn't need, you can't look up where they say any of these guys need to be humbled. Johnny Manziel, Aaron Rodgers, we can go down the list. None of them have ever said that those guys need to be humbled. So I would actually respect them more if they just said exactly what they mean. Look here, we gonna humble these niggas. I would respect them more if they did that. This would be a much shorter program if they said that. And we're not talking about somebody who's been in the league forever. He's not officially even there, really. Yeah, I mean, until you play, you're not really there. And already, they're showing you how much they hate on black children, hate on black teens, not even black adults. Because they've had this attitude since the young man got into college and was performing. They're showing you who they're targeting. They're showing you who they're after. They're showing you how insecure and vicious they are. That if you're black and you're not insecure, then you need to be humbled by the Mayo militia. You need to be that. You need to be that. In the chat room, you make a good point. Colin Kaepernick got run out the league for taking a knee. Tim Tebow got celebrated for it. What? So, I'm white and I say so. That is the rule. I'm white and I say so. And to all of that right there, I say, Shedeur, you already know the deal. Your father already told you what it was. The only thing I would say to you is stop saying my dad. You don't have to link yourself to your father. You want to have your own performance. That's the only critique I would give you. Other than that, don't talk about it, be about it. You show everybody else in the league, y'all done messed up. You show everyone else in the league, y'all messed up. The rest of you who had the chance to draft me and you didn't, now you're going to pay the price. You turned the Browns into the biggest, best team in the league. That's how you do that. That's what Drew Brees did when he came to New Orleans. He didn't try to redeem himself from San Diego. He didn't try to argue with anybody over the condition of his shoulder. He just got out there on the field and made it happen. He didn't talk with his words. He talked with his actions. This is what you do here. Same thing. You go ahead, take their words, put it on a little gluten-free bun. What? Slather it, bury it with mayonnaise, and then shove it down their damn throats. You get out there and show them what it is. Give them something real to hate on. Give them some, let them start hating. Watch their blood pressure spike and the aneurysms pop when they see you winning. Tell them, if you were hating me during the draft, you sure gonna hate me when the season starts. You gonna hate me for real when the season starts. And I just make it happen. That's how you deal with that. You don't have to trash talk. You don't have to defend yourself. Let your actions speak for you. In the words of the late Jim Hellwig, your greatness will silence them all. That's what you do there. Turn Cleveland into Titletown the way that LeBron did. LeBron had to take a step back, go to another team, so that when he came back to Cleveland, as I said before, when LeBron came back to Cleveland, they let him build that team his way. Basically, the coach wasn't running nothing. LeBron came back. I'm calling the shots. I'm calling the shots. We bringing the title to Cleveland. That's what LeBron did when he came back from Miami. We bringing the title to Cleveland. And that's exactly what he did. Everybody who ain't here to perform, you got to go. If we're not gonna change the way the franchise works, I ain't coming back. LeBron, they changed the way the franchise works. Championships ensue. Now it can be Shedeur's time to go ahead and make Cleveland Titletown. Make Cleveland Titletown. That's how you deal with that. And it's good that they show him young, just how vicious and vociferous they are. It's good they show him young, so he's not under any illusions. I'm glad that the white supremacists are showing their colors early. Go ahead and show them now. Show how dirty and grimy you are on a mass scale. Let the hate flow. Go ahead and do that now. Let's get that all out in the open so this young man's not operating under any illusions or delusions about what you really are and how you really are. Now we got that settled there. Now he can move accordingly, and nothing you do should surprise him because he saw very early on what you really were. And that is good for America. Now, I'd like to go a little bit further into something else here. I want to go a little bit further into something else here. Because there is, and I've talked about this fella before. I've warned y'all and told you all about them before. These so-called white hip-hop YouTubers. Folks, all of them need to be run up off the block. All, A-L-L, all of them, 100%. All of them got to go. Period. In 2025, it is the most coonish, clownish ass thing to be courting these people. We don't need to speak to them, and they damn sure don't need to speak on us. All of them. I said this years ago when I exposed pearly things and the internet had a complete meltdown across the media. Complete meltdown. And that day, I actually was going to focus on Adam 22. What? When I made that video, it went super viral because I exposed pearly things talking to Nick Fuentes and talking about black folk and slaves and Jews. And But in reality, you all, when I made that video, my focus was going to be on Adam 22. He was the one I really wanted to focus on, not her. It was only when I saw what she said with Nick Fuentes, I'm like, yeah, things just changed. Things just changed. But in case you wanted to know, I actually was going to talk about Adam. Because you see these folk out here and whatnot, they do not come from our culture. They don't come from our culture. They're just using it for their own means, and YouTube boosts them. They don't get this naturally. YouTube gives it to them. If you're a white YouTuber, the folk of YouTube manually change these things. They suppress other folk and they make sure yours gets boosted. So the Adam 22s and the Trap Lore Rosses and all the rest of these folk out here, they need to go talk about some heavy metal or thrash music or something else. If you're not from our side of the street, you got no business speaking on it, period. Because that's culture vultures. Go speak on something you live and something you know. Not something that you're sensationalizing about and distorting and in many cases just outright lying about. Go do that. You do not belong speaking on us. You damn sure don't belong over here. The reason why I bring this up is because, and I've talked about this 1090 Jake before. I talked about him and Adam, and I told y'all years ago, you're rocking with me, y'all rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Rock your ass out of here. That's what you can rock. But you see, the issue is we got some niggas. He said niggas. I damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
We got some niggas out here. You're so desperate for some attention or to raise your profile. You're just so desperate to have that you just ignoring all the damn ops. You're just ignoring them because you're desperate to go viral or to be seen by more than 100,000 people or 100,000 views. Never mind if they're bots or not. Don't worry about that. So this 1090 Jake, you rocking with me, I rocking with y'all, we rocking around the clock. I've been told y'all years ago, man, don't bring this little clown around. Well, in case you didn't understand it, for the slow bus children, this is his latest video. The case of Carmelo Anthony, lies, race, and deceit. Now, I've watched the video so that you don't have to go through the torment of watching it yourselves. But by the way, there were lies. He just didn't show any of them. Although there were plenty of lies, he was the one telling them. There were plenty of lies, but he was the one telling them. Now, let's go ahead and get this out of the way here. Fair use, by the way. He started off the video talking, basically setting this up to be anti-Carmelo Anthony, to be very sympathetic towards Austin Metcalf and his family. So from the very beginning, he does that. From the very beginning, he does that. And it shouldn't be surprising when you're dealing with some white dude here from Boston. And the issue is not being white. The issue is you're not from our culture. And Boston's racist pedigree is very, very well known. And I'm like, okay, well, let it be what it is. But when you speak, folk need to be aware and clear about exactly who and what it is doing that. That you're not objective. So I'm going to start from here. And like I say, he basically starts lying from the very beginning here.
And I don't understand as I was a father.
Now, this is some alt-right dude. I don't even know who the hell this is, but he's trying to make 1090 Jake tries to make you sympathetic to Austin Metcalf's family by having this, I don't know, white supremacist alt-right dude, whoever he is. He's calling Austin Metcalf's father to say that he's got a problem with the fact that he's not, standing up for the race.
was in your hands, I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that it shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend.
A confrontation.
So that's 1090 Jake trying to frame this very sympathetically for the Metcalf family. This is how he starts the video now. This is how he starts it. So, and I've actually skipped ahead because he had another piece in there, but this is how he's very framing this very, very lopsided in support of the Metcalf family, period. Period.
Between two teens left one dead and the country divided. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the criminal case of Carmelo Anthony. April 2nd, 2025, it was 10 a.m. when the Staley Middle School resource officer heard over the radio there was a stabbing at the school track field. Frisco police would alert nearby officers an athlete was the victim, and the suspect was a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. The school officer rushed to the...
Why is that even relevant? Why is that even necessary? I'm going to skip forward just a moment here, a little bit here, so you can, because I want to get to another part here.
Still bloody, deciding to cover it with a tarp. An officer grabbed a backpack to weigh the tarp down, noticing it was the only backpack from Centennial High, as all the others were from Memorial. It was later discovered this was the suspect's backpack. The victim, identified as 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, was a Memorial High student. Investigators would learn the stadium was hosting a track and field championship with multiple schools in attendance. The stabbing took place under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. A witness would tell police he was sitting under the tent with his team and was near his teammate Austin as everything played out. Austin told the suspect, Carmelo, that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Not only did Carmelo go to a different school, he was under their tent.
Okay, so you see 1090 Jake is editorializing. Here he is editorializing already, leaving out information so he can, from the very beginning, he doesn't want you to get any information before he tries to set an editorial on it and craft a narrative, leaving stuff out. He's leaving things out and he's like, okay, let's go ahead and rig this phony story now.
Wearing Centennial High clothing. Carmelo grabbed his backpack, opened it, and reached inside telling Austin, touch me and see what happens. The witness told Austin,
now that makes no damn sense. Obviously something's missing there. This is that crazy nigga talk. Hey, you shouldn't be sitting over here. Touch me, you gonna find out what's going on, sucker. Hey, cuz, you touch me, cuz, you gonna find out what's going on, cuz. This is that crazy nigga stuff they always claim. Obviously, he is saying that in response to, if he said that, he's saying it in response to being threatened. And everyone has confirmed he was threatened and then he was physically assaulted. Notice that Jake is deliberately leaving that out here when it's very obvious he said that in response to being directly threatened that we're going to do something to you. They didn't just say you shouldn't be here. They said we're going to move you and we're going to put our hands on you. And he said, don't put your hands on me. And then they still put their hands on him. Now, I think he's going to say that later, but at the beginning of the video, he's running through these events, leaving all that out, so he's lying by omission. He's lying by commission and omission. And leaving this out at the beginning, so this is what white supremacists do. They lie first, want their lie to get 10 miles down the road, and then come back later. Oh, well, you know, when you start debunking them, the lie has already been told and circulated. Now you're fighting this lie that's been circulated first and trying to debunk them and trying to undo that, which is a very, very daunting task.
A witness would tell police he was sitting under the tent with his team and was near his teammate Austin as everything played out. Austin told the suspect Carmelo that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. Not only did Carmelo go to a different school, he was under their tent wearing Centennial High clothing. Carmelo grabbed his backpack, opened it, and reached inside telling Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." The witness told officers no one really thought Carmelo had any weapons, so Austin proceeded to touch Carmelo.
Okay, so 1090J, you rocking with me, I'm rocking my lies. He proceeded to touch him. Excuse me, so is hitting and grabbing and pushing touching? He touched him. Touched him? You talking as if he put his pinky finger on him. He's 6'1", over 200-something pounds. And Carmelo is 5'9" and 170 pounds. So this other fella got 30, 40 pounds on, almost half a foot and 40 pounds on you. And he touched him. Touched him. You rocking with me, I'm rocking these lies over here. That's right, big dog. If y'all don't stop with this damn pandemic babble where y'all picked up some of these pandemic clowns out here and ain't put them down yet.
Carmelo then told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Carmelo to tell him to move, and Carmelo pulled out what the witness described as a black knife, stabbing Austin once in the chest before running away. Austin began grabbing his chest, telling everyone to get help, and shortly after, he'd lose consciousness, stop breathing, and never wake up again. 2 more witnesses were found breathing heavily and crying, one of which was identified as the victim's younger brother. He was unable to say much, but his friends said they were sitting on the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent. A male wearing a different school's clothes came and sat down, so Austin told him since he didn't go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. While arguing, Austin was stabbed and the suspect ran.
While arguing, you notice that once again, 10 Lion Jake is sitting up here again, not saying what actually happened, lying about the events. Carmelo was threatened. He told them, "Hey man, you don't want it." Then they proceeded to assault him. And he still told them, "Hey, you need to stop." And then they persisted. Notice, he's not giving that version of the events. He's leaving all that out and just going with the, well, they talked to him and he just got so enraged and he pulled the knife and I'm killing all y'all bastards up in here. That's right, cuz. This is what we do, cuz. Okay. So, 10 Nazi Jake is crafting this fairy tale.
Austin's younger brother held on to his older brother as he lost consciousness, bleeding out in his brother's arms. It was 10:46 a.m. when Austin was brought into the trauma bay at the hospital. 7 minutes later, he was pronounced dead. His heart had been pierced and he bled to death. Officers listed student witnesses from Lebanon High, Liberty High, Memorial High, Frisco High to the stabbing, while 2 coaches from Independence High School witnessed the stabbing.
Now, did y'all hear that? 2 coaches from Independence witnessed it. Where were the coaches from Frisco Memorial? Where were the adults, which is what I have said since the very beginning? Because if it comes out, as I've always maintained, that there were adults standing there when Austin and his brother were accosting Carmelo, if it comes out that there were adults from Frisco Memorial standing right there when they decided to put their hands on Carmelo and they just let him do it because, hey, we gonna show him who runs this around here, you little Shedeur Sanders looking nigga. Okay, if it turns out that there were adults standing right there and they allowed that to proceed, then very clearly Carmelo has no reason to think that anybody's going to stop them from seriously harming him. And I've maintained that since day one. And notice ain't nobody said that part right there. Who in the hell deputized Austin and his brother to go grab people? Especially somebody smaller than you. Who deputized you to do that? You are a minor. You go get an adult. Or were the adults already there and the adults said, wink, wink, you know what to do with them, wink, wink. Now, if we question this and get the information and it comes out the way because all of you have been to high school football games or basketball games, track meets, there's always adults there. There are always adults there. So that's the point. If they were there, then why didn't they intercede? Or were they there and they were watching it go down and giggling and winking? Oh, this will be fun to watch. And then things turn not fun. Shouldn't we be looking at them, hey, why didn't you do something?
Carmelo Anthony would be charged with first-degree murder and transported to the Collin County Jail. Under Texas law, even at 17 years old, Carmelo could and would be charged as an adult.
Now, you all notice that 10 Nazi Jake here, he keeps showing this picture here. Bunch of other pictures to be able to show of Carmelo, bunch of other pictures to show, but he just keeps wanting to show this one right here. Now, for Austin, not that way. Just thought I'd go ahead and point it out.
His bond would be set at $1 million. Immediately following his arrest, social media would divide black versus white. Some of the black community would come to the immediate defense of Carmelo.
All right, now 10 Nazi Jake here, this is where he immediately comes to lying. We knew about this because Megyn Kelly and the quartering and all the alt-right white supremacist YouTube media, Charlie Kirk and them, they were the ones who blew this up. It wasn't black YouTube, black Twitter. They're just responding to what the alt-right and the white supremacists were over there doing. Most of us had no idea that this event had taken place. They were the ones who fixated on it. They were the ones who latched onto it. They were the ones who racialized it and tried to see if they could make it a racial incident. They're the ones who did that. Everyone black had to go research it and look into it. And by the way, he knows that. So once again, he's lying. He's trying to create a false narrative. Well, after that, black people came out defending him. No, Megyn Kelly and the alt-right came out attacking him, and everybody else was responding to what they saw and what they read. So they were responding. It was the alt-right and the white supremacists who kicked this off. They're the ones who blew this thing up, not anybody in black society. Now, how could he not know that? Of course he knows that. I've already shown you he's lying through all this here because he's trying to create a narrative because y'all thought this was your white homeboy. This gonna be the white homie. And he's demonstrating to you that he's white supremacist along with the rest of them there. This is what they're doing. So it's not artificial.
Stating it was purely self-defense and he's only been arrested because of the fact that his victim is white. They'd also claimed the victim in this case was the aggressor. While GoFundMe does...
Now, once again, he's lying again here. They're claiming, dude, they're not claiming anything. The police report says it. His brother said it. The witnesses said it. They are all consistent in what occurred because the incident was video recorded. So they knew if it was recorded, damn, we can't lie about it. So we're going to try to massage the words as much as we can, but we can't lie and say that he just came over there and they said, hey, you need to move. And he's like, you ain't going to touch me, cuz. And he's just starts slashing people. So you can't lie and say that that's what happened or that's what he did. You can't tell that lie. So that's the only reason you're really upset about it. And now you have to lie about the events. Dude, when you start lying about it, forget it. You're already done.
Doesn't allow funding lawyers for criminal cases. Apparently Give Send Go does. And over $500,000 has been raised for Carmelo, with a list of donation comments raising concern amongst journalists.
Okay, did this 10 Nazi Jake ever sit up here and say anything about George Zimmerman and all these alt-right folk out here who been on a killing spree for the last decade? Somebody remind me, did he ever do a video talking about that? Talking about how they were raising money? Did he ever do that one? Has he ever done for George Floyd? Has he ever done a call up for that one? Anybody? Did it ever occur? No? Huh. Why am I deliriously unsurprised? Isn't that amazing? All these questions he has now, never had these questions before. Yeah, I mean, he probably dropped something on Daniel Penny. He probably did. But then again, that was a different type of case. Because you see, Daniel Penny, we had to fight and argue to get him arrested. Whenever they harm a black person, they get to go home. Carmelo Anthony went straight to jail. Self-defense didn't work for him. It worked for George Zimmerman, and he gunned down a 17-year-old kid. An unarmed 17-year-old kid that he admits, yeah, I was stalking him. Yeah, I was following him. Yeah, I chased him with a gun. Chased him with a gun. That's self-defense. Okay, sir, well, you go home. Don't worry about it. We'll take it from here. That's what would have happened, quote, if the races were reversed. Well, that's what would have occurred. Carmelo, you would still be trying to get him arrested today. He'd still be going to school and sitting at home.
One anonymous donation would label Carmelo an anti-bullying hero, a scholar, and a gentleman.
Okay, Daniel Penny walked up behind an unarmed man on a subway who was doing nothing but screaming at people, strangled him to death, and Fox News and MAGA and the alt-right and I suspect 10 Nazi Jake were calling him a hero. Notice how all that homeboy stuff goes out the window and they all start talking like Fox News and the alt-right. Isn't that amazing? That go all out the window and they all start talking like Bill O'Reilly and Megyn Kelly. No matter their age, no matter their geographic location, no matter their socioeconomic status. Yeah, they drop all that homeboy street talk, yo, brother. They halt all that, and then they all start talking like Charlie Kirk and Richard Spencer.
A donator named Black Excellence would donate again, stating, the more these hateful whites show their insecurities and fragilities of losing dominance. Sending love, light, and justice to King Carmelo. Rock from Atlanta would comment, we are the defenders of our lineage. This is America, and these flat whiteness immigrants from all over the world has always been open enemies towards foundational black Americans from day one.
And that's the reason right there that I brought this to you all. Let me go ahead and show this up on your screens. This is from his video here. I'm going to back it up so you can see it again. This is from his video. This is what he's upset about.
Would donate again, stating, the more these hateful whites show their insecurities and fragilities of losing dominance. Sending love, light, and justice to King Carmelo. Rock from Atlanta would comment, we are the defenders of our lineage. This is America, and these flat whiteness immigrants from all over the world has always been open enemies towards foundational black Americans from day one, no more.
So if you want to know what his real gripe is, yeah, y'all, the yo homeboy, the ayo homeboy thing, that's gone out the window, and this was the one that he went to here last. Now, I'm not really sure where this screenshot came from because he's captioned it, so I don't know if he made this himself or if he took it from some other white media website or something, but you see where it says here, some donors to the Anthony fundraiser referred to foundational Black Americans and quote, disparaged whiteness. Foundational Black Americans, so you can see what the beef he has here is, isn't it? He didn't choose this out of nowhere. You can see what the beef is that he has here with it. This is the beef he got with it here. So he's letting you know what he's really got a problem with. Yeah, y'all, that phrase right there hit him close to home now, didn't it? So just in case you thought this was random and it was not directed directly at us, just in case you were under any illusions about that, oh, this wasn't random. This was not random.
This is America, and these flat whiteness immigrants from all over the world has always been open enemies towards foundational Black Americans from day one, no more. Some in the white community would also speak out, stating this wasn't self-defense, it was flat-out murder. Many would be enraged at the fact that Austin's killer was being praised for being Black and killing a white. The donations spoke for themselves.
Now, he's posted comments allegedly from the Give comment section. Give Send Go comment section. Then when it comes to the white folk, the ones who started the conversation and started the whole racial commentary, he doesn't show any of their comments. He just, and poor whites, they couldn't understand why you're praising a murderer as a hero. Daniel Penny much? So notice he showed comments from folk who he claims were Black. Then when he talks about whites, he's not showing all the racist comments they made from the very first day. None of that. So this your boy here. I said years ago when I first saw him during the pandemic pop up on my damn YouTube feed, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, hell no. I called it out from day one, man. We ain't rocking with nothing like this. And what do you know? Comes down exactly the way I told you. And this is not hip hop related. What the hell is he doing talking about this? Because they're letting you know what they're really about. And when it's time to get on code, everything else goes out the window. Pearly Things, Adam 22, 1090 Nazi Jake. They're all birds of a feather and fellow travelers.
Literally. And many have also stated if the races were reversed and the victim was Black, there would be riots and looting.
Okay, so 10 Nazi Jake is sitting up here giving the white supremacist talking points. Remember, as I've told you all here before, Megyn Kelly, this is how she started out. This is what Megyn Kelly started out with, remember?
Asking to have his seat, is dead at age 17 with nothing but promise lying in front of him and in the arms of his own twin brother. There's an element to this that must be mentioned, and that is that the assailant was Black and the victim was white. And one thing that's very obvious to all of us is if the races were reversed, you wouldn't just be hearing about this on this show and a handful of others. It would be blanketing the national airwaves coast to coast.
Sound familiar? So that's what we mean by they're on code. They all got the message, and this is the line they're pushing because this is what's motivating all of them. That we should be able to kill Black people with impunity. How dare you stop the ability to do that? If the races were reversed, Megyn Ku Klux Kelly, 10 Nazi Jake, if the races were reversed, Carmelo would not be arrested right now. If the races were reversed. If the races were reversed, the district attorney would be acting as the defense attorney, telling us all about how this is self-defense and Carmelo should have kept his hands to himself. That's what it would, like they did with George Zimmerman and Daniel Pentalio and all the others. If the races were reversed, he would not even be in jail right now. You all would have to be screaming and caterwauling on the internet, demanding that he be arrested. He got arrested the exact same day. If the races were reversed, that wouldn't have happened, which is the point we made the whole time. So you are not arguing for justice. That's not what racists do. You're arguing for injustice. And what makes you upset is actually things are not going too unjustly here. Oh, there's some injustice going on, don't get me wrong, but it's not going as far as they wish it were. And instead of them just being quiet and letting this go below the radar, they couldn't help themselves because Megyn Kelly is a white supremacist. She's been chomping at the bit. She got fired from NBC because, just like Dr. Laura Schlesinger, she is just so absolutely undisciplined and reckless and out of control when it comes to her white supremacy that she couldn't even shut her damn mouth. She couldn't even keep quiet. And got her bleached blonde surfboard built ass bounced out of there. Because she couldn't keep, and at least if you're going to be a white supremacist, at least have the brains to shut up and be quiet about it. But she couldn't. She's like, damn it, I can't stand it no more. And then she let it fly. Okay, well, ma'am, get ready to hold this L. But 10 Nazi Jake is showing y'all that they are all fellow travelers and members of the same movement.
This wasn't self-defense, it was flat-out murder. Many would be enraged at the fact that Austin's killer was being praised for being black and killing a white. The donations spoke for themselves, literally, and many have also stated if the races were reversed and the victim was black, there would be riots and looting. Carmelo's actions in Austin's death was now being politicized and used by radicals on both sides to justify prejudice.
Radicals on both sides. He didn't show a single, quote, radical on the white side. Did you notice that? He didn't show a single one. It's radicals on both sides, but if you didn't show any of them, then you're saying the radical white folk are whom? So once again, that's just proof positive.
Being politicized and used by radicals on both sides to justify prejudice. In simpler terms, it didn't matter who was right or wrong because the ones speaking out don't care about Carmelo or Austin. They care about their own agenda. Things would heat up again on April 14th.
But he doesn't show any of the people who really don't care about Austin. They care about their own agenda. He didn't show anybody like that. He doesn't show anything. So he thinks he's being slick. He's saying all this with a Black Lives Matter standing behind him. So just understand, as these guys get older, they act like, oh, I know the black experience. I've been to jail. I understand black folk. I've been to jail. And that becomes their calling card.
2025, when Judge Angela Tucker reduced Carmelo's bond from $1 million down to $250,000. She also...
That's routine in the court system, by the way, folks. I mean, that's routine in court for that to occur.
Also agreed to release him based on his clean criminal record and his athletic/academic background. Carmelo would then be released under the conditions he wear an ankle monitor and be supervised by a parent at all times. Judge Tucker's decision would cause her to receive violent and racist threats on social media, leaving her with no choice but to privatize her Twitter. Judge Tucker's personal security has also been temporarily increased as the FBI investigate anyone who released private or personal information about her, as they plan to charge those responsible with unlawful disclosure of a resident's address or telephone number and obstruction or retaliation.
Very interesting. I'm glad to hear that because you see the Quartering and some of his friends on Twitter, that's exactly what they did. So I said, by the way, is that a crime? Well, if that is a crime and to the extent that the FBI can investigate it, because they said disseminating a residence address. Well, hey, I know a number of people who have done that with very clear malicious intent. So I can name a number of them who've done that. So now that we've solidified that actually, hey, this is an offense. Well, hey, I got some other names, Cash Patel, that you need to be looking at. We've actually got a list of names all over Twitter. Now, here's the thing. If I know this, 10 Nazi Jake knows it too. So why hasn't he dug that up and shown that? If I know it, he knows it. If I know it, he knows it. And yet he's not showing their comments. He's not showing anything. He only wants to show allegedly black folks' comments, allegedly. But he's not showing any of these other people now. Isn't that odd? No, it's not. It's just white supremacy.
Carmelo and his family would also be targeted through death threats and harassment. People would visit his home, loitering and taking pictures, while others would make false food delivery orders and send hate mail, including Austin's obituary.
So, strangers at the door. 10 Nazi Jake is confirming that they were getting death threats. Well, the quartering, I need to see what those are, because you folks will lie about that. Okay. Let me explain something to you. You're standing on those folks, outside those folks' door like that. You're standing outside their door like that, looking rather threatening. Please understand that, because, by the way, they keep wanting to relax these laws. Oh, you can carry a gun anywhere. You can defend yourself under any circumstances, except if you're black. You showing up at folks' houses? Oh, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. That right there is everything you need to see. That's everything you need to see. Period. But the white supremacist media is not saying anything. If that's somebody you don't even know, no, that's trespassing. That's trespassing at best and very suspicious at worst. By the way, where are the police there? Because if you and me go to a white neighborhood and we just standing in front of folks' doors, now the police would have been there to take you away.
It became common for people to circle the home in their vehicles to essentially provoke fear and intimidation.
Now, listen as 10 Nazi Jake here tries to make some equivalent between what's happening to Carmelo's family and Austin's. Watch as this pathetic individual tries this.
Loitering and taking pictures, while others would make address or telephone number in obstruction or retaliation. Carmelo and his family would also be targeted through death threats and harassment. People would visit his home, loitering and taking pictures, while others would make false food delivery orders and send hate mail, including Austin's obituary. It became common for people to circle the home in their vehicles to essentially provoke fear and intimidation. Carmelo's family would have no choice but to use donation funds to relocate to an undisclosed location. But this harassment...
Now, remember, I told you that 10 Nazi Jake is outright lying. Now, he's showing a screen capture from the press conference where his mother, there's Carmelo's mother, sits there and says, we hadn't received any of the Give So Send Go money. We hadn't received any of it. So when they were moving, that's without any donation. And yet, just like the quartering and Tim Pool and the rest of the white supremacist media, they're out here saying that lie, even though they know it's a lie, they're saying it anyway. Folks, if he watched this press conference, and he's going to play clips from it, if he watched this, then he already heard her say this. So why is he making a video repeating a lie that he knows? Well, dude, you heard her say that's not true. Because these folk, y'all sit up here and let your favorite YouTubers or some crackhead drill rappers sit up here and anything white, they've got their lips wrapped around their musty butt cheeks. And then they drag something like this through here and I'll be damned. A little while later, the devil shows his fangs. But it should have been predictable the whole time because he never should have been in here.
Wasn't one-sided. Frisco police would receive a phone call reporting a shooting at Austin Metcalf's father's home. Another shooting would be reported at his mother's home. This would happen a total of 3 times, all 3 being fake reports known as swatting, in which an anonymous person contacts police and they respond to what they believe to be a violent situation. Swatting has even led to innocent people being killed by police.
Now, folks, when Tariq Nasheed was swatted, they yanked him out the house at gunpoint. Remember? When he got swatted, they yanked him out of the house at gunpoint. News helicopters, whole 9 yards. He got brought out of his own house because of a completely false call that the so-called sophisticated LAPD should have been able to track down and show exactly who it was making the false call. And they knew better than that. They brought him out, his whole family out, including babies, at gunpoint. Did anybody hear about Austin Metcalf's father and his mother being brought out of their houses at gunpoint? Because that's what they did swatting with black folk. Did anybody even hear about that? Or did the police do what they're supposed to do? Hey, Mr. Metcalf, we got a call saying that somebody's been shot or whatever. No, it's nothing like that. Okay, we'll send an officer by for a wellness check, but wanted to let you know somebody called in saying that. Okay, well, folks are doing stupid stuff out here. Yes, sir, we know. Thank you. Now, that's what it would be. And yet, for us, it's like, oh, no. Oh, we sent the SWAT team to yank you out at gunpoint because, we were just worried for your safety there. We were just worried for your safety. And if you move, we'll blow your brains out of you and your kids. Oh, but we're just worried about your safety there. That's all. That's it. So, hey, 10 Nazi Jake, if that incident did occur, well, very clearly they didn't even, obviously the SWAT team didn't even show up. Now, you did show proof that folks showed up at the Anthony residence. Now, there are people who showed up there and drove by their house. Well, we got proof that folks showed up there. That not so much over here. And that's not to try to diminish the seriousness of it. What I am saying is that when we go down to actual events, they handled it. The police have been operating way differently than they usually do. Somebody needs to explain why their response was so radically different with the Metcalf family than what they usually do.
3 being fake reports known as swatting, in which an anonymous person contacts. Swatting has even led to innocent people being killed by police. Austin's father, Jeff, has been making headlines himself as he attempted to make peace with his son's killer's family and pray together at a press conference held for Carmelo.
Okay. All right. Now, just to put this in its proper context, people, to put this in its proper context, if this were the Metcalf family holding a press conference to discuss what happened to their son, and Carmelo Anthony's family crashed the event and showed up at all, you think that they would have been able to just walk up there to the podium and, yes, we'd like to say a few words too? I am not even going to attempt to characterize whatever his intent was. I am not going to even go that far with it, people. This is called being objective. I am not going to attempt to characterize what his intention was when he showed up. However, I will say that you've never seen a murder case where the family of the accused and the family of the deceased, you never seen nothing like this happen, where they just walk up during the press conference and sit up there next to everybody else. You don't see that happening. And the response by everyone there was predictable.
Instead, he was escorted out by police, with Carmelo's family apparently uninterested in making amends.
Making amends? This is your boy, 10 Nazi Jake, making amends? What they have to make amends for? Making amends? This is who YouTube boosts. This is who they blow up in the algorithm. There is a white supremacist narrative that a multi-billion-dollar corporation is currently under antitrust investigation to be broken up. Yeah, this is what they're doing with it there. Yeah, this is what it is. Folks, you could not have a murder case where the families crash events. You don't have that. You don't have that. Here's the other thing. If Austin Metcalf's father wanted to be a part of this event, why didn't he contact their attorney? If he wants to get in touch with them or whatever, why didn't he just contact their attorney? He shows up at this event uninvited, unannounced. So, okay, if you really wanted that, why didn't you contact their attorney so that they would know you were coming? Or that you wanted to be there? Why didn't you contact their attorney and get everything all legalized and formal? Why didn't he do that? Once again, without me even characterizing his motives or his intent. Simple question. If you're sincere that this was just about wanting to hold a prayer vigil, buddy, why didn't you just call their attorney? You could have done that before now. Why didn't he do that? If that was his sincere intention. That way you wouldn't have got marched out by the police. First of all, the police let him in. That's the first thing. First of all, they let him in. But second of all, if that was his intention, then you should have contacted them so that they would know you were coming, and we take care of this a certain way. Now, folks, here's where 10 Nazi Jake jumps the shark. Here is where he jumps the shark, and I'm going to let this play. I'm going to let this play because there are some people here who have just no self-awareness and all gall, and they figure I'm white and I say so is the solution to everything.
Interested in making amends.
What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words, don't quote anybody, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character. Was not invited, he knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
The main voice speaking for the Anthony family was not actually a member, but the so-called minister Dominique Alexander. Describing himself as a minister of justice, political, civil, and human rights activist, and supporter of Black Lives Matter, his suit, tie, and slow way of speaking aligns with more of a gimmick from a man with an agenda.
Slow speaking, Jake? Really? All right.
Come to find out, Dominique has a long criminal history himself and served prison time for abusing a baby.
What? People. So, let me get this straight. 10 Nazi Jake, the oddball looking little dude from Boston who made his career, his only credential is I'm white and I've been to prison. Your only credential on YouTube was I'm white and I've been to prison. Trust me, I know all the gang members. I know Suge Knight. I know Charlie Whitey Bulger. I knew John Gotti before he died. I've been to prison. That's your whole claim to fame when you started your little bootleg channel. That was the only thing you talked about and still talk about today. Vlad just did an interview with him. That's all he talks about. I've been to prison. I've been to prison. I've been to prison. Aryan Nation. Aryan Brotherhood. I've been to prison. I've been to prison. I did time. I did time. I did time. I did time has been his middle name since he got on YouTube. Hell, some days it's his first name. This is one of these jailbird YouTubers. One of these prison tubers. He's made a career of talking about, I've been to prison. Here's who's a rat, with folks saying he's a rat. Damn! So that's his whole claim to fame. He's one of these prison tubers who's made his whole career on YouTube talking about his only credential in life, his only accomplishment is I did time. I did time. I did time. And he's got the gall to talk about, this guy talking slow, he's got a criminal record. Now, other than having a blown out Cat Williams, other than having that, Jake, did you think this particular attack over before you made it? Of course you didn't. People, he forgot himself just completely. This is how much of a suburban Karen he became. He instantaneously became such a suburban Karen that he's like, this guy over here has been to prison. Jake? Oh, Jake. Excuse me, are you 1090 Jake from YouTube? That's right. You been to prison how many times? It don't really matter. This is a different thing here. So, yeah, folks. He wants you to know that he is here to call people out. The YouTube's most notorious prison tuber is here to let you know that he has a very negative view of people who've been to prison. The fellow with a rap sheet long as your arm wants you to know that, hey, he doesn't have a very bright view of folk with a rap sheet. He's here to talk about law and order. He is here now to lecture you over the virtues of law and order. People, the world's gone mad. This is how far I'm white and I say so has degenerated, people. It's just, we got fellas whose claim to fame is going to prison talking about, we don't need to be messing with folk going to be in prison, you've been to prison, right? You know that, don't you? I'm not even going to play any more of this. I'm going to just stop right here. Because you ain't rocking with us and we ain't rocking with yous. So, folks, what you get here, what you realize is that they understand they have to attack you young. They've declared war on the young. It's across the board. And this is good. What? Oh, this is good. I want them to show their colors and wear their banners and fly them openly. I don't want no more of this undercover, below the radar camouflage in wolf in sheep's clothing. No, put it on the bricks. Come on out and say exactly what you're thinking. I want you to think that Trump has changed the world so that you are over emboldened and you will finally slip up and say exactly what you really think. You have completely forgotten yourself and you've forgotten that it's actually not safe to say things like this. But you are you've been sitting on it so long and you've been faking it so long you can't stand it anymore. And now you've been emboldened enough to say the quiet part out loud and say the true part in public. And this is exactly what we need right here. So you can't lie about it anymore. You can't claim you didn't know. The new black media here to document every step of it. This is what we need right here. When I did my program on my other YouTube channel about pearly things, understand something. It took a while before she felt emboldened enough that she felt that she was solid enough. She felt she was so in demand that she could start switching up the format to say some of the things she really wanted to say. There's where the issue comes from. These folks saying what they really want to say. That's the thing I look out for right there. So let them get bold. I want them to be bold. I want them to be emboldened. I want them to let it all hang out. I want them to say what they really mean. I want you to all show the same alt-right white supremacist talking points. I want you all to get on code. But most importantly, I need you to say it in the open. I need you all to say what you're saying in the open. That's the ultimate move that we really need. We really need you all to think that you're going to change things and that you get so emboldened that you say it out in the open. You get so bold that y'all sit up here and make videos and let the world know this is what you really think. And I'm like, great, so you cannot walk it backwards. We want that so that you cannot walk it backwards. See, y'all got to understand, Pearly Things thought that she was going to get on CNN or Piers Morgan. See, they were grooming her to put her on cable television, even though she wasn't going to make it any further than Tommy Lauren did. They keep trying it. It keeps failing, but they were prepping to try to do something bigger with her. She had like Candace Owens' agent. So they were prepping for that of the Daily Wire. That's what they were getting ready to try to do. They were getting ready to try to put her in that Ben Shapiro sphere, even though she doesn't qualify from an intellectual standpoint. From white supremacist standpoint, she does intellectually. Get out of here. She's got the intellect of a Dixie cup. But that's what they thought they were getting ready to do. And then, lo and behold, some channel called The Business comes along and gave him the business, and all that got derailed, and now she has been exiled to YouTube. So she can make whatever money she does on YouTube, but that little promotion elevation thing they were talking about doing, yeah, that's been derailed. That's a wrap. That is a wrap. But she was far from the only one. And that's why I want to have a little bit of a conversation with you all tonight about that little aspect of it here. People, when we talk about the culture, don't y'all sit up here and let this garbage go on anymore. We have got to be hard line about that. We got to be hard line about that. Understand that. We have to be hard line about that. This forward going on here, we have to let everybody know that, hey, it's a new day. It's a new day. Now, I understand in some regards, we're limited in some degrees, but that's the conversation that we need to have. We need to have conversation about that stuff. We need to have conversation about this acceptance of weirdos and folk out here with tattoos and talking about they down with us because they've been to prison. The Adam 22s, there never should have been a lane for them. And yes, I do understand that YouTube is going to promote them. I understand that. I understand that. I understand that YouTube is going to promote them. I understand that that's what they need. But we have, as you can see, we actually are sitting up here changing the format, changing the national conversation. We're actually changing that. We're actually changing that. Whole different thing here. That's why 1090 Jake is, do you realize how long he's had to sit back and pretend that he was okay with everything here? You realize how long they had to sit back and do that? You realize how long that's had to go on? That's why I give props to guys like Joe Budden, despite his flaws, and they are many. When it comes to the DJ Vlads and the Adam 22s, yeah, he puts them down. He lays out the real and says exactly what it is. And that's what the hell it's supposed to be. There's a whole bunch of folks out here. I need y'all to understand your favorite druggy rapper or whatever. Look, there is a desire for certain types of criminalized entertainment. In white society, they consider black, quote unquote, gangster rap and gangster culture to be entertaining the way that most people consider mafia movies to be entertaining. Damn! So don't act like it's something new or whatever. Folks have been loving gangster films now for a century. Way before The Godfather. Way before The Godfather. They've been having mafia movies now for a century. America has loved gangster films and gangster movies and gangster music way before we came along. Way before we came along, folks. And there's a bunch of y'all, you love your Godfather movies, okay. Well, understand, in white society, this is that equivalent from us with them. This is our equivalent of the Godfather movies in Italian gangster culture for white society. So you see, Adam, it doesn't matter where the little druggie comes from. He is different. So that has an appeal to the white girls. Yes, I said it. That has an appeal to the white girls. He's different. He's got crazy hair. He's drinking this purple stuff. He has a devil-may-care attitude about life. He's reckless. He's exciting. He's living on the edge. So that has always had an appeal. Back when I was a kid, it was punk rockers with spiked hair getting into legal trouble. There's nothing new under the sun. So these prison tuber channels and these wigger channels have been using that. So that was their claim to fame, is taking local rappers and folk who were just known in Detroit or Chicago and getting them on their channel back when that used to be the wave. Well, the wave has come to an end because a bunch of them got killed. They got sent to prison, so much so that Adam 22 is talking about no jumpers going broke because they're not making the money they used to make. It wasn't the pandemic that thinned out your audience, Adam. You saturated the market and you drained the well. That's what did it. That stuff is no longer edgy and exciting anymore. It's old and played. You wore it out. But I reserve my biggest criticism for the idiots in the comment sections. Because on Jake's page, you got a bunch of black folk on there. Now, we all know this is why I got to talk to the folk who have not come from our background. You see, we don't play these games. Those of you who do not draw your lineage to the killing fields in America and pre-colonial times here on American soil, those of you who have not been here and your lineages don't go back through the last 200 years on American soil, the last 140 years on American soil, what I'm saying, it's new to you. To a lot of you, you think you can play games with this because dudes like 1090 Jake come down to Jamaica. What? They come down to Barbados. They come down to Turks and Caicos. They come do their little sexual slumming in Brazil, in Colombia, across the Caribbean. Some of them even go over there to Africa. And then you all come back over here and y'all hop out the damn bed confused. And then you come back here talking like them. So in the comment section on this same video that he made, talking about Carmelo Anthony, you see some of them up there, and I'm taking a look at some of these folks, and I'm like, okay, you fit the profile. There y'all go. You fit the profile. fell for it hook, line, and sinker. You fit the profile. You play this game right here where you're being their useful idiots. And you gonna be the Negro face backing that up. No, you got some riders in Jamaica. You got some riders in Jamaica. However, let's not overblow it. Let's not overblow the situation. We can't fix the problem if we won't face it. So look, we can't overblow it neither. They run the yard down there. Them gals got no problem with that. The code is shaky. The code is shaky. We shouldn't even be hearing stories about dudes like this running around, running the damn yard down there. They shouldn't even be able to do that. And yet, that's the rule. That's not the exception. That's the rule. And I say this because, as Dr. John Henry Clark said, to get your house in order. Because I'm saying this right now. Where are your Jamaican YouTubers to say it? Academics? What? I'm saying it, but where are your Jamaican YouTubers at? Where are your Caribbean YouTubers at? Where are they at? Because I'm the only one saying this. So where are they at to represent? Where are they at to represent? A bunch of these folks here, they hang out in these places. They don't come from our lineage, and we trying to show them the format, and they sitting over there. Well, Carmelo, that's not really self-defense, It's people. I feel so sorry for the father and the family. And I'm like, by the way, we don't even have all the information here yet. We don't even have all the information yet. When you reflexively come out, you kind of out yourself and expose yourself. When you reflexively come out, and here you are stomping for Daniel Pentalio and stomping for George Zimmerman and stomping for Daniel Penny, stomping for Darren Wilson, stomping for Kyle Rittenhouse. And everybody thinks it's fun and games till they grab your folk there. When they start doing that, and it's like, oh, hell. And what I'm saying is that it starts here with this right here. It starts with this. This is where it starts. This is the gateway drug. Oh, he's a cool white boy. I'm rocking with you. You rocking with me. Then turn around the next day here. The problem is that there are blacks who do not like whites, and they are defending the murder of white peoples. What happened to yo homeboy? Hey, yo homeboy. What happened to that? Don't you bring your ass around us. You got no place over here, partner. You showing your true colors. Get your ass back over there with Pearly Things and Megan Ku Klux Kelly and Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool. All of y'all need to be over there. Let's draw a clear line in the sand. You need to be over there. I've never trusted any of you. I don't trust any of you today, and I never will. Don't think you're going to sit up here and put on a diamond chain and talk about your favorite druggy rapper and he understands us. He understands colonization. That's what he understands. People, this is the current colonizer. This right here, if you want to know the colonizer, you've got this anachronistic, look it up. You've got this ancient idea in your head of what the colonizer looks like. That he's dressed like George Washington. That he dresses like Christopher Columbus. That he dresses like LaSalle and DeSoto and Cortez. People, this is the colonizer, 21st century. This is him. This is the Cristobal Colon, 21st century. This is him. This is the Alexander Stevens of the 21st century. This is him. This is Manifest Destiny 21st century. This is your 3/5 of a human. This is him. This is Jim Crow Dred Scott decision. This is him. This is the colonizer today. Oh, he's different than the one in centuries past. The one back then, he made it very clear from top to bottom, you ain't like him and you never will be. The one today is more sly. He dresses in a whacked out version, copycat version of you, just really weird copycat version of you. He tries to talk like he's got your slang and he doesn't. He talks about, he knows your experience and all he talks about is prison. He's the one who tries to convince you that he's like you so that you'll let your guard down. Because times have changed from the period of time when they could just physically dominate you. Times have changed. You cannot proceed like that anymore. So if you're going to get something done, you got to go a different angle and a different strategy with it. So all of your prison tubers and all of your druggy tubers and all these folk out here talking to various and sundry lowlives. And by the way, niggas going to prison left and right. Damn! With the Fed sitting up here, folks, for all I can say at this point is, damn it, this is Darwinism. At a certain point, I just got to say, this is Darwinism. If you're going on Vlad TV, hold this sentence. You going on Vlad TV, you going on Adam 22 with them asking all the damn Fed questions, with them literally going to court playing Adam 22, literally quoting Adam 22 from your indictment, literally quoting DJ Vlad in your indictment, and niggas still lined up to go there. I'm like, okay, y'all are like roaches going to the roach motels. Okay, at a certain point, this is just natural selection. This is just Darwinism. That's all this is at this point. If you watched all the rest of these folk get indicted and you're like, well, you know, I mean, it ain't gonna be me. I ain't gonna say too much. And you know what the hell it is. Let me explain something to you people. If you're in the comment section of 1090 Snakes and you sitting there bobbing your head and talking about, hey, Carmelo, she did different. What's wrong with the fan? You sitting there parroting him and imitating him. Just understand something here. You're showing that you don't get it and you'll be easily taken under. Easily. Dominating minds is more important than dominating bodies today. And if you've been watching them and you have seen the parade of people get indicted and arrested and killed, and they all got one thing in common. They all got one thing in common. When are you going to realize there's a reason? Let me tell y'all something. There's plenty of white girls out here ready to ride, die, shoot, kill, very easily influenced. You notice they're not doing that. When they bring on white girls, they talk about who they having sex with. When they bring on black females, they talking about who's gonna die and who you falling out with and who you got a beef with. Big difference. Let's be clear about that, folks. Big difference. Ain't nobody brought on Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly to talk about who the ops is. And don't tell me about it's in the same city. The East Coast, West Coast beef was across a whole continent. They don't bring on white people to discuss who they beefing with. Who runs the block? Who owns this? They don't bring them on and do that. They don't bring on Bad Bobby and whoever else they can get. Miley Cyrus, they don't bring them on for that. Back when there was the rivalry between Pink and Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, nobody brought them on to discuss the beef. No one brought them on to discuss their beef with any. They didn't even get asked the question. Making songs and taking shots at each other. The interviewers ain't nobody asking no questions about it. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, for your favorite rappers and your favorite singers, hey, you know what they said about you over there, right? Hey, brother man, you know what they said about you over there, right, dude? Hey, this DJ Vlad here, I was just going through New York there the other day. And, he was in the magazine and he said X, Y, Z about you. He's not going to do that. You and me cannot go up to DJ Vlad and quote another Jewish person and tell DJ Vlad what's up with the beef. What? We can't do that. DJ Vlad is not going to have a conversation with you and me about a beef with another Jewish person. He'll talk to you all day long about Rick Ross, the rapper, not the drug dealer. He'll talk to you all day long about Joe Budden. He's not going to talk to you about beefing with another Jewish person. And he's rubbed some Jewish people the wrong way. But he's not going to talk to you about beefing with them. He's not going to name drop none of that. Oh, that's not going to be a conversation with you. He's going to have nothing to say. But when you show up, people, don't y'all understand that this is for real? I need you to understand this. This is for real. This is racial warfare, man. I'm telling you, they are actively, deliberately instigating situations so that black people will get killed and harmed. 1090 Snakes done been to prison. We talking about rolling with the Aryan Brotherhood and white nationalists. Okay, what do you think they talking about? What do you think he committed to? What do you think he pledged to? Take a look at what he doing out here. There's plenty of white folk out here that he could be talking about. Ain't said nothing, folks. I was watching a video the other day. Justin Bieber been damn me. How many times he been arrested? Eminem, how many times was he in and out of drugs? There's a whole bunch of white folk out here in and out of drugs, in and out of jail. They ain't saying nothing. He's not following up. They're not giving him the wall-to-wall coverage. Not giving the dirt. They're not giving the gossip. They ain't doing none of that. They act like that didn't happen. They talk about it like it's a love triangle. You show up and it's all about the beef. Don't you realize when people are initiating and waging warfare? Don't you realize when they really are seriously trying to do you in? They're not joking. This isn't entertainment. This is part of a strategy. And you're on the menu. This is part of a strategy, and you are on the menu. So whether it's Carmelo Anthony or Shedeur Sanders, just understand it's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not an accident. They didn't mess up. They didn't get something wrong. They didn't flip the wrong damn switch. Just understand that it was not accidental. It never is. And going forward here, all these damn crap tubers and the rest of these people, there needs to be a blanket embargo against all of them. ALL, all. There needs to be a blanket embargo against all of them. Because they're not right. And it's the same old same, and it's colonization and white supremacy. I don't give a damn who it is. Do not bring me another one of these ayo homeboy, I've been to prison, tatted up folk. Don't bring me another one. Don't bring me another one. As a matter of fact, don't bring me one that speaks on us too much either. Because we don't be speaking on them. Damn! Folks, how many programs have I done about Taylor Swift and Katy Perry? How many black YouTubers got something to say about Katy Perry and Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez? How many black YouTubers got anything to say about them? Metallica. Led Zeppelin, Def Leppard. How many black YouTubers got anything to say about Machine Gun Kelly? Who got anything? Who on our side got anything to say about them? We can live our damn lives and just talk about us and don't have to say anything about them, and yet they're always sitting up here stalking us. No, I don't want any of that. It's a blanket ban against them speaking on us, period, point blank, full stop. Don't want to hear nothing else. Don't need to hear nothing else about it. However, you might disagree. You might have a different perspective on it, and that's perfectly fine because you have come to the right place. So we're going to go ahead and open up the Zoom for everyone here tonight. We're going to open up the Zoom for everyone here tonight so that you can go ahead and give us a call, and you can go ahead and weigh in on it. If you'd like to go ahead and do so, that is available to you as well. I'd like to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, my man, Mr. Rich Bird. Thank you very much for your support, brother. We appreciate that. Chadwick, thank you very much here as well. Denise Bowler has been giving out some memberships tonight, so thank you very much for your support, sister. Pamela Greer, Cyberdown100, I see you. Mobile Noble, thank you very much for your support as well. And to everyone who's contributed to support tonight's program. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break while we load up everything here so you can go ahead and give us a call and you can sound off on this if you have any thoughts or insights into it. Go ahead and call us up. This is the Black Channel.
When you visit MrBeTheTeacher.com, you can get a copy of his award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. While you're there, grab one of his newest tunes along with fun and educational lyric videos.
Never give up, don't worry. Never give up, study. In order to 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times swap names, he, she, they, and we. Simplify the tiny divides as the father and guide. Money multiplies and shares on what they buy.
You can also acquire his tutoring services via varsitytutors.com or tutor.com. If you wish to speak to Steve Burgess directly, you can do so through MrBeTheTeacher.com.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra snakes and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give the honey badger reparations? Can the evil alliance of cobras and hyenas be stopped? The best new price for the hard and soft cover is at www.thehoneyBadgerandthemongoose.com. You can also find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the link for the Zoom is open. You are welcome to go ahead and give us a call if you'd like to weigh in on tonight's program. Remember, make sure if you call on Zoom, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. Don't worry. No one else is going to see you except for me. So the internet will not see you, but just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues, make sure that your camera and your microphone is turned on. The internet will not see you. YouTube will not see you. But just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues, That's all we're looking for there. All right, let's go ahead and jump in this. And by the way, if you've been instructed by either me or my mods to call in, that was not a suggestion. That was a command. All right, y'all. We got the Chicago North Side tether up here. All right, Barrister, what's on your mind? I gotta get a banjo sound. I gotta get a banjo sound drop for you. So I gotta get a custom sound drop for you when you call in. I'm gonna have to go get one just for you. I need a sound drop that says teeth. That's what I need. I need a sound drop that says white teeth.
Thanks for the compliment, but you and pretty much all Black Americans supporting Shedeur, you're just all wrong. Like, the main reason why he dropped down to the 5th round is strictly based off performance. He's not that good. That is the main case. That is all it is.
And Tyler Shaw is?
Well, Tyler Shaw actually has intangibles. I'm not sure if you are familiar with Josh Allen. He's, I believe, this year's MVP. Josh Allen was a lot like Tyler Shaw when he first came out of the draft back in 2018. He was making all those inaccurate passes. He was rough around the edges. That's Tyler Shaw right there, though. Tyler Shaw has intangibles. Shedeur Sanders, he has no intangibles. He's a very average to below average quarterback. The only reason why we know his name is because of his father. If he had like an ounce of Deion Sanders' athletic ability, he would have been drafted in the 1st round. NFL scouts, they don't really care about a person's attitude.
If he was as talentless as you say he is, he wouldn't have gotten drafted at all.
He wasn't going to get drafted at all. The reason why he got drafted was because of his father. In my theory is the Cleveland Browns already drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round. His name is Dylan Gabriel. I'm almost certain that his father probably contacted the Cleveland Browns owner.
Okay, if you had no, it doesn't work that way.
It does work that way.
No, it does not work. It doesn't work that way. Listen to what the hell you just said. Deion Sanders contacted the Cleveland Browns. If Deion Sanders is going to contact somebody, wouldn't he contact the Cowboys, the 49ers? Why would he contact the Browns? Of all the teams available, why would he contact them, dude?
He has a close relationship with the owner and his best friend
He has a close relationship with Jerry Jones.
He also has a close relationship. The Cowboys don't need a quarterback. They have Dak Prescott and several other backup quarterbacks that are way better than Shedeur.
Okay, how's Dak been doing for the last 5 years again?
They just signed him to a $300 million contract. They're not going to cut him.
Oh, okay. Well, my point, I asked you how's he doing. I didn't ask you what they're paying him. I asked how they're doing.
I'm not sure. Well, he hasn't been performing as well, but they're not going to cut him.
It don't take very long to debunk this, y'all. It takes no time to debunk it. They don't even think this stuff through when they say it. They don't even think it over.
I am thinking it over. I'm just stating that it's strictly talent. Basically, the NFL is a TOE league, talent over everything. Michael Vick had a whole lot of red flags.
How about Tim Tebow? How about him?
Tim Tebow?
How about him?
Tim Tebow got drafted, I believe, in the 1st round. The difference between Shedeur and Tim Tebow is that Tim Tebow had leadership skills. He actually had a smart IQ, and he was also a Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay, so you're saying that Shedeur did not demonstrate leadership skills in Colorado? Nigga, is you crazy?
According to the interviews, and again, you have to look at the NFL scouts and the GMs.
Okay, who among his teammates did not consider him to be a leader? Who?
According to NFL scouts and
how about his teammates? How about his teammates?
I don't know his teammates. I am just going based off what NFL scouts and
you
GMs
said that he was lacking leadership, but Tim Tebow had leadership he didn't have. Who were the teammates that he lacked it with, sir?
I'm not sure. I'm not going to, as I said before, all I have to do is just look at what the individuals who make the decisions are the scouts and the GMs. 31 NFL GMs passed on him.
And
they stated because he was entitled.
They did it because he's too uppity and too confident.
No, it has nothing to do with that at all.
Okay, you know what we know he didn't. You know what we know they didn't do it for? We know that they didn't base their decision on performance. Now we know that they didn't base it on that.
Perform that way. Everything isn't always what they appear to be. He didn't perform that well. He was 13-12. He was like 13-12 throughout his time in Colorado. They didn't win any bowl game. He's a very below average quarterback. He's not that good. You cannot just. That's what I'm just saying. Why don't you talk about the first?
He's not that good, and he just skated not that good, and he just skated his way to the NFL
because of his last name. If his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't be talking about him right now. He would just be like any other average college quarterback out there.
This is the type of fantasy they have to concoct.
It's not no fantasy. It's the facts.
If he was going to do that, why didn't he just do what LeBron James did and get his son on a real big team? Why not that? They need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback right now.
And the Jets GM stated that his what the heck is that?
That's your Coonan. You're Coonan smudging the camera. You're Coonan is smudging on the camera.
Anyways, what I was trying to say is that you're just not looking at everything. Why don't you talk about the first pick, Cameron Ward?
There's more. What do you say, y'all? There's more information. You see, the video doesn't show you everything. It's basically that.
Jason, why don't you talk about the first pick, Cameron Ward? He's just as confident. He's just as brash as Shedeur Sanders, but NFL teams, and he's black. NFL teams.
You already said what you meant the first time. It's intangibles. Yeah, because the intangibles are all in place.
Yes, he has no athletic ability. If he had an ounce of athletic ability, from Deion Sanders, he would have been drafted in the first round. But he's not that athletic. What's the point of drafting a quarterback that is below average, but is also a prima donna?
Here's the real issue. The real issue is Bootlicks and Coons have a whole different internet than we all got. What? They got a whole different service provider. So their Twitter shows them a whole different their TV shows them a whole different Colorado. Thank you for giving us a call here. Remember, Coon Vision shows them a whole different view. It's like that movie They Live. They got their glasses on. The whole world looks different to them. We saw Shedeur throw the ball. It was caught. He sees him throw the ball and it gets missed. So just understand, that's what it means to have Coon Vision. The world looks like that to them. It's all like that. The rest of us see a whole different planet. All right, let me go ahead and get over here on Superpower Media. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Superpower Media up here, folks. Make sure you're paying attention here tonight. Let me get Superpower Media. All right, Superpower Media, what's on your mind?
Jason, if I can drive an ice truck up to his house right now, man, these Teslas it don't make no sense, man.
I'm sure he's a very faithful 1090 Jake listener. I'm sure he is.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, Shedeur proved itself 100 times, million times over already. So, I mean, I don't know what he was watching. I don't know who he's watching or what he was watching.
He's watching Coon Vision. He's watching that, brother. He got a whole different physics that he's observing.
And this is why I'm glad that we claim what we claim, a foundation of Black America. Everybody's coming down on us right now. I mean, you name it. We're the number one. We're the number one Black foundation of Black Americans. Man, we are the culture of the country. That's why these white boys, when they do these YouTube channels, they can't get views off of their own culture because they have no culture. We are the culture, foundation of Black Americans. So when I went to watch Centers the other day, and it proves everything, man, that we've been the culture since the inception of this country. So and that's why the white supremacists are mad all the time. That's why they can't believe that we still surviving. We are God's people, and I want Black people to understand that God shine on us, and other cultures know it. Africans see it, white people see it, you name it. And so we got to understand the power that we have in this country and around the world. And until we understand that, when people hate on us, they hate on us for a reason. We're God's people, and people know that. And with Shedeur being in what they tried to do to him, man, that young man is already rich. He was born rich. He was born successful, and that's what people hate to see. Young black successful men coming up without a criminal record. Oh, he's wearing these chains. He rapping with foul language. Man, if they don't stop, all these politicians out here sleeping with the AIDS and you name it, doing all kind of crazy stuff, man. And it's just the hypocrisy of how they try to belittle us, but they the ones started all of the craziness.
Look, it's I'm white and I say so. They invoke the set of rules. Want to? It's up is down, right is left, back is. The dude just got off the phone here. That's the person they're talking to. If you're black, that's the only one who's going to fall for that. It's about power. It's not about truth. If you're looking, the only thing is just recognize they're lying, recognize they're trying to exercise power over you. Otherwise, it'll drive you insane. If you attempt to make logic out of propaganda and lying, it'll drive you nuts. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get local Atlanta up here. Let me get local Atlanta up here. All right, local Atlanta, what's on your mind?
What's happening, Jason? Can you hear me? This is Nico out of Atlanta.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
First, I need to submit my apologies. I haven't made my regular contributions because this whole, Cash App and all that changing of the passwords, but I guarantee you I'm going to get my assistant on it and we're going to make sure you get what's due. So salute to you and thank you very much for opening this platform for us to have serious conversations. Difficult it ain't, my grandmother said. Look, it's amazing to me that we're having this discussion of he gets in and if they're playing him to the left and etc. If nobody understands that we are the sauce of everything, there is nothing that can go forward without us putting our game into it. When I listen to Mr. Black, he gives me game and I go out and I'm able to assess things a better way. If I'm listening to Deion Sanders and seeing how he implemented these things within his son and made these things so he can shine and this facade of them humbling him, and my whole attitude is that thing wouldn't exist if it wasn't for us. And we are just foolish to keep on thinking that we can keep on playing these games. Either you're going to step up and say, this is my thing, or you're going to move to the side. Now, I'd like to hear what you have to say, big homie.
I agree with everything you say there, brother. Like I say, it's all about psychologically hazing you now because they can't stop you if you want it. It's about convincing you that you don't want it. The odds are against you. You can't get it. We're going to lock arms. And my whole thing is, if you're teaching your children in particular correctly, then they're ready for that. They understand that. They expect that. The only folk who are really surprised are the people who told themselves this wasn't what it was. And all the rest of us who've been grounded, it's like, oh, we knew this before they even said it. We're pointing it out now because we're like, this is only about the millionth time they've done it. So that's my whole thing is, up until now, they had to be a lot more coy about it. So they've had to play a little bit nicer and a little more slick about it. Now they've gotten bold enough to get real big about it, and that's good. You want the young folk to see this because there's a lot of fellas out there making asses of themselves, and they're going to be twisting in the damn wind because they were assuming that the obvious wasn't going to apply to them. Oh, it ain't really that bad. It's not really that many. It's not really this big of a problem. Yeah, it's really that bad. It's really this many. It's really this big of a problem. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. On your screens there, everyone, I'll show you a thing from the New York Times for our North Side tether over there. From the Atlantic, one NFL coach offered a blunt assessment of the 2025 draft class. I remember seeing this a week ago. There aren't a lot of Robert De Niro's at the top of this draft. What? So he was lamenting that he didn't think there was a whole lot of greatness happening out there at the top of it. So what I'm saying is that, okay, well, if you're going to make that, obviously, if you're going to take that at face value, well, okay, well, it's not just him. So if he's underwhelming, very clearly, according to them, pretty much everything they're seeing is underwhelming. That's the issue that they're having. Pretty much everything they're seeing is underwhelming. So they don't seem to be terribly impressed by anything they're seeing there. All right, in the chat room there, Eldridge, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. I'll give you 2 seconds for that, and otherwise we're going to have to move on. So you have 2 seconds for that. and then we're going to move on. Okay, you had your 2 seconds. Everyone, make sure when you log in there on Zoom, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on, just so we can make sure we don't have any trolling issues. All right, we got Rashid here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Rashid?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's on your mind, brother?
Just wanted to talk about the whole situation with the Shedeur Sanders, and my point that I was seeing is that it really was trying to destroy Deion Sanders' program, because I'm looking at the draft, and a lot of the people that's in the draft, they went very low. So that could really deter a lot of people that trying to come to his program, that if you get with his program, you're going to get the quote-unquote Deion tax.
Yeah, I mean, it was very clear especially once he came to Colorado, it was very clear that their problem with Deion was that kids wanted to come to his school because they wanted to play for him.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about a bowl game, dummy up there in north side of Chicago. They didn't want to play for Deion for a bowl game. They wanted to play for primetime. They wanted to have that on their resume. Brother, how do you compete against that? Well, these kids are like, yeah, I mean, you got a nice school in Michigan, good coach and all that, but I can play for prime. I can always come back and play for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to get a second chance in life to say I played for Deion. So I'm just saying, in music, it's what you call street credibility. In art, it's what you call street cred. These young athletes, that's street credibility. To be able to say I played for Deion when he first came into college. I played for him then. They ain't looking at the bowl game. Okay, do you realize what you're now saying, brother? Which is what I think you're getting at. Deion showed he's bigger than the NCAA. What? They were like, wait a minute, nigga, you can't be bigger than us. Deion showed, I'm bigger than you. This ain't about you anymore. I'm bigger. Brother, y'all remember what happened? The Rock came out. Was it Quavo? Did he come out? The Stars came out for that damn thing. Absolutely. You would have thought that was a bowl game. So it's like, but Deion is an attraction, and he's showing his son how to be an attraction, because he's like, dude, how you make money in this league is not about performance. They showing you they don't give a damn about performance. Look what they're doing to his son right now, and your performance doesn't matter. Okay, his father is telling him this is how you really get paid. Because remember, even in Colorado, it was about merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
Deion was already about, hey, it's about the merchandising. They're like, oh, hell no. And by the way, I didn't get to show you all other things. There's a whole bunch of folk comparing him to LeVar Ball.
Oh, absolutely.
Whole bunch of them. Now, I know there's a whole bunch, I said this before, there's a whole bunch of people angry and upset because that didn't crash and burn the way they hoped it would have. They were hoping that all his sons would have failed, and it didn't work out that way. Now, did it?
No.
So every time they see you, that you found a bypass to get around the obstacles in the system, they saw you did it, and that next thing you know, they're going to try to figure out some way to either close the gap, and if they can't close it, they're going to try to make enough noise where they try to intimidate you into using it. And this is where we at.
Also, too, the first caller, he's very disingenuous. He plays a lot of games. He calls up a lot of different shows. He's on Tyreek show. Programs or whatever. He's always doing that because he's being very disingenuous, because Shedeur Sanders was the most accurate college quarterback in history this year. He also won the Johnny Unitas award. These are different awards that he's won and accolades that he has, and makes him top of his class.
He didn't see that on Coon Vision. So just remember, Coon Vision cable didn't show him none of that, brother. He's got Coon Vision cable. He's got Kungl, not Google, Kungl. So when he does his Kungl search, he's not pulling up none of this. All he sees is missed passes. Shedeur is 300 pounds laying on the couch, so that's all he's seeing. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, Coon Broadband don't show that. When he takes a look at it, I don't see them stats. What are you talking about? I don't see none of that. My Google search don't show that. So that's basically what's going on. That's why we can't see nothing. All right, we got Richard here on Zoom. Richard, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I really great program. I like what you're talking about. I think a lot of the problem is that I'm gonna read you a quote from Lyndon Johnson. Very short. Lyndon Johnson once said, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. in these hard times, we got a lot of people hard up for somebody to look down on. They're looking for their permanent underclass, and they need all those narratives of a permanent underclass. Now, in the instance of Shedeur Sanders, the NCAA for years was a plantation. You couldn't get any athletes couldn't get any contributions from anybody. Nobody could give them any money. They couldn't get an outside job. Some of them were literally starving. They didn't have money to eat in their dorms. So they were coming to the NFL hat in hand. Please, mister, this is the first chance to make money. They literally could not work their way through college like anybody else could. So when they come, since NIL came in with people, our millionaires, when they come to the billionaires, and that they still haven't got used to that.
That's maximum objectionable. And here's the real thing. The NIL wall broke just in time for Shedeur to show up.
Yep.
Now that's the part right there that's frightening them. I'll be damned. Y'all broke this down just in time for him and his brother to show up.
Well, in Chicago, we had a situation that was lower key with Caleb Johnson. His family were millionaires, real estate developers. So he wasn't poor. He was never poor. And he came in there and he was low key and they did the same thing. But that NIL is to a lot of those people in the NFL is that nigga is loaded. So he come in there. So when you come in there and you're confident of yourself, that's something that really understand. Because see, you have to the quote I just read. You got to have that narrative that we're pouring on the bottom, and that thing goes over to Carmelo Anthony. One of the things they got really pissed off about is whether these Negroes get money to fund his defense. We supposed to be poor. So they would say, well, that can't be black people putting that money up there. Somebody else, that's money from the left coming in there. Again, we have to be the permanent underclass to justify their fragility.
Well, also for them to sleep at night.
Yeah.
The white supremacists cannot sleep at night if they know you're not struggling because they think you sitting up all night plotting against them because that's what they do with their resources. They plot against you. So if you are not safely oppressed and destitute and powerless, brother, they can't sleep tonight. They're just sitting there laying up looking at the ceiling. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Robert up here on Zoom. We got Robert on Zoom. All right, Robert, what's on your mind?
TBA, one of the greatest master teachers in the history of our lineage and our anchor man of the new black media. TBA, I'm going to be real quick, man. I wasn't even planning on calling you tonight, brother. I was just enjoying your broadcast, but I just wanted to address really quick some of this butt-kissing tether babble that Barrister had to say. It's like this. This young man, he's claiming that this young man, Shedeur, lacked leadership. You can look it up for yourself, TBA. He inherited a 1-11 team. They won one game the year before he arrived, him and his father. In 2 seasons, he turned that team through his leadership from a 1-11 team to a 9-4 team that was bowl eligible and played in a bowl game. That's just amazing in itself. Point number 2, the Heisman Trophy winner, his teammate, Travis Hunter, and you've talked about him a lot about, the little girl juicing him or whatever that was going on with him. But Travis Hunter won the most prestigious award in all of college football. And he went number 2, TBA, in this year's draft. He should have been the first pick. He should have went number 1 overall, but he went number 2. The reason why he went number 2 and should have went number 1, the reason why he won the most prestigious trophy in college football is because Shedeur Sanders was getting him the ball. He's not going to get all of those. He's not going to accumulate all of those accolades and all of those statistics if Shedeur is not hitting them with bombs. He will. A wide receiver can do nothing by himself.
No,
he has to have a capable quarterback.
Coon Vision says there was a white quarterback in Colorado that y'all didn't see. Coon Vision says there was really a white quarterback throwing the ball. So you just think it was Shedeur, but there was really that white quarterback was on the sideline throwing the ball.
TBA, he is a super coon. And I want to say this, man. Speaking of these coons, and especially Bushmeat Barrister, as our brother, the great Flex call him, when it comes to Shedeur, and he's being arrogant when he do this little thing with the watch. He's being arrogant. He needs to be humbled and all this stuff. But Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, I watch these young white men do the exact same kind of stuff. The money sign. All the brothers and sisters listening to me who follow college football, they can stamp this. All of that same stuff, equivalent to what Shedeur was doing with the watch. But when they do it, these kids are just passionate. You know what I mean? They wear their emotions on their sleeve. But when he does it, he's arrogant and he needs to be humbled. It's such a double standard, but we already know.
Dude, whether it's the white athletes in NFL, NBA, MLB, NASCAR, hockey, golf. It doesn't matter what it is. Understand that they always got some code way of identifying you as the thug, which really means you're the problem. And that calls everybody, hey, we got to get on code. He's the problem over here. So how do you say he's the problem without saying this nigga's the problem? He needs to be humbled. You're getting a little bit close to that slave master talk there, aren't you? Needs to be humbled. Don't all these fellas need to be humbled? Well, they're different. And then what Northside Coon say? Well, it's intangibles, you see? Intangibles. So in other words, it's I'm white and I say so. Whatever it is on the day I say it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me remind you all of something right here. Let me remind you of something because as you all know, I was campaigning for a decade about the NIL issue, about college athletes getting paid. Now we got college athletes getting paid. And now we got high schoolers. What? Oh, when the dam broke all the way. Folks, we got high schoolers signing NIL deals, in case you didn't know. You got high schoolers now getting agents and rigging up NIL deals. Oh, yes. Do not believe me. You can go Google that or even Google that. If you got Google or Google, if the results will come up on either one. One will leave you smiling, the other one will leave you crying. But oh yes, people, when the dam broke all the way. Nightmare of nightmares. A level playing field. Oh, you can't pick and choose who gonna get it and get paid as easily as you used to. They're still gonna try to tip the scales in favor of their kids, but you can't do it as easily as you used to. And I want y'all to understand, Deion Sanders was not the greatest football player ever. Deion Sanders was not the Michael Jordan of the NFL. By any stretch of the imagination. So the Northside Tether understands something. Deion's teaching his kids a different game. Deion is the biggest name out there from the NFL today in college, and if you want to go to the league. He didn't do that by scoring necessarily the most points. He had the most presence, the most name value. Remember, Deion had stuff. He was merchandising. He put out an album, and he's already got his sons plugged into that. Regardless of what the league does, that you don't have to just rely on stats or performance because the white quarterbacks are not doing that. You're going to be able to leverage your name. Being able to leverage your name. That's a powerful thing to be teaching your sons when they walk in the doors. That let me show you how to leverage your name. So folk will be buying your jersey because it's you. They don't want you teaching your kids that you can sell their name without having to have win. Let me explain something to you. Folks, especially those of you in Detroit, I ain't beating up on you for last year. I mean, it's, next year, let's go for it again. But there's plenty of teams that we all know. Hell, here in Louisiana, the damn Saints. Look who the hell they just drafted as a quarterback. There's a bunch of teams that their whole thing is making merchandise. Back in the 90s when Jim Mora was the coach of the Saints, folks couldn't figure out why the hell we couldn't get a better damn team, and that's because the literal car salesman who owned the Saints, Tom Benson, they were selling the most merchandise in the league. They were selling the most or at the top, near the top for selling merchandise. The Saints were making money on merchandise, so as long as they could put out a mediocre team and have excellent merchandise sales, they were cool. Don't got to hit no salary caps. Don't have to spend a bunch of money. If folks come to the Superdome and show up to see y'all lose, long as they pay for their tickets and pay for their jerseys and merchandise, we good. The team making money. Rinse and repeat. Who cares how disappointed that the fans are? Who cares how dejected they are? And there's a bunch of teams doing the same damn thing. What's happening with the Bengals? With the Jaguars? What's been happening with them for decades, y'all? Come on, man. There's a bunch of teams out there. As long as they selling merch, making their little money, they're good. Please understand that. They got an NFL team. They're good. When's the last time the Raiders won a Super Bowl? Damn! We know they sell hella merchandise. Raiders sell hella merch. When's the last time they won a Super Bowl? If it's all about points and championships and performance, if it's all about that, hell, it seems like the damn team moves every other year to a new city. So we all know the Raiders sell hella merch. Okay, why we got to break the bank paying for a team? We selling merch. We got the tickets. It's a business. The business is profitable. Yeah, but the team sucks. Yeah, but the revenue don't. No, Jerry Jones built the Cowboys and multi-billion-dollar enterprise with losing seasons. Come on. Then they come to you and tell you, you better win the Super Bowl. You need to win the championship. Jerry Jones ain't got to win one. Al Davis didn't have to win any. Tom Benson didn't have to win any. Jacksonville Jaguars, are they ever going to see a Super Bowl? Unless I missed one in there somewhere. Tampa Bay, Brady came, Brady left, back to the damn dumpster. And telling you about stats and scores and championships. While these teams are living off of merch and ticket sales, even if the team sucks. So I'm telling you, the owners of the team are not playing the same damn game that the fans are playing. And Dion has moved to enough teams. He saw the damn game, how it's played. He saw the score. He's telling his sons the same thing I would tell him. Dude, the owners of these teams, it ain't about stats and stuff. They're about merch. They're about merch and sales. They're a losing team with a terrible record. As long as they're making money, that's the goal. Okay, well, that's what I'm going to teach you to do. Make money no matter what the score says. They don't want to teach you that. You start thinking like the owners of the team. They don't want to teach you that. Let's get back over here on Zoom. We got Linwood here on Zoom. Linwood, what's on your mind? Well, where is Linwood? I don't see Linwood. Linwood is trying to get the Zimbabwe broadband connected here. All right, Linwood, we're looking for you here, brother. We don't see you just yet. We're going to have to move on here in a few moments here. So, all right, Linwood, what's on your mind?
What's going on, brother Jason? Listen, man, what you said is actually true, by the way. Yes, when the Raiders were in California, they sold more merchandise with the whole NWA thing. I don't know about now, because now they're in Vegas. It's like, why the hell want to call them the Las Vegas Raiders? Like, don't sound right. But yeah, I'm hearing the talks, and I'm gonna tell you what it is, Jason. You have what you have today are the NFL, the white supremacists in the NFL. They want their subservient millionaire niggers to smile for the camera, do the whole hip hop gimmick, and be subservient to the league. They talk about how Cam Ward, he's a great quarterback. Nope. Cam Ward is the epitome of what Joe Frazier was with Muhammad Ali. He's the white people's version of blackness. He's not our essence of blackness. When you look at Shedeur Sanders, you look at Deion Sanders. Deion was arrogant. He was cocky with it, but he can go on that field and play. Listen, I'm an NFL fan through and through. I'm a football fan through and through. I watched Deion growing up in the 90s. Shut down corner. He went out there and said, must be the money, and backed it up.
Okay, but brother, here's the thing right there. Do you notice that that's something that they use in leverage? I'm going to connect the dots for y'all right quick.
All right, brother, do that.
Muhammad Ali. Oh, now you know where I'm going. Muhammad Ali. How did he comport himself? How did he make money? Talking to Howard Cosell, that's how he made money. Being the irreverent Negro, that's how he made money. Trash talking, that's how Muhammad Ali made money. He getting these white folk to pay money to see him get knocked out. Can somebody go shut his ass up? And that's how he knew he was instigating that.
And they never did it. And they never did it, brother.
We can go Deion Sanders. In the NBA, it was a little bit different. I don't think we had anybody who really did anything like that till maybe, I don't know, Allen Iverson maybe. NBA is a little bit different, but they tend to be pretty low key till we get to the 90s.
Oh boy, they can't listen. I'm from Virginia. Allen Iverson's from here. They couldn't stand Allen Iverson. They would call him a thug. They would call him, "What are you writing about that punk for?"
Yeah, I think he was the first real, anti-hero with that. And in the chat room, everybody sees where I'm going with it now. From Ali to AI to Deion Sanders to Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Money Mayweather.
You can make money with stats and performance, but you gonna make more money being the villain, because then you're gonna make the white audience show up hoping to see you lose. And when you go out there and succeed, they come back the next week like, damn it, I got to pay for another ticket. Hopefully next week we'll get it. And next thing you know, it's 10 years later, and they then paid you hundreds of millions, and you ain't never took a L. So that's becoming a draw. If the team is not going to give you the ball so you can become a draw, there's another way you can become a draw. And that's what Deion has learned and understood.
Use that media.
They're showing up to see. And here's the thing. We know it's the truth because you've seen interviews with Allen Iverson, with Deion Sanders, with Floyd Mayweather.
Practice, man.
The way that they talk in front of the press conferences or at the game is different than the way they talk. Like, you talk to Deion Sanders about his family, about his ex-wife. He don't talk like Coach Prime when you do that. He doesn't do any of that. Floyd Mayweather, when he talks about his mother and his family, he ain't Money Mayweather. AI, same thing. He's not he's not AI when he does that. So they're showing you they know how to play the audience against itself. And they're successful at it, and that's how they got their weight up. No matter what the team did, no matter if the team won or lost, he was still winning regardless. You're not supposed to be that smart to figure that out.
No, you're not supposed to. And that's why I watch the NFL draft, and I'm starting to notice that they're feeling like they're losing control of the quote unquote the slaves. And the slaves are starting to wake up and starting to really see what's going on in that front office. What happened with Shedeur Sanders was basically a nigga wake up call. We still under control. No, you're not. Not anymore.
And that becomes contagious. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Remember, insurrection becomes contagious. Rebelliousness becomes contagious. If one fella gets away with doing it with impunity, that emboldens and encourages the others to follow suit. So you gotta beat them down the first time it happens. You let beast mode get away with it, and next thing you know, everybody beast moding on you. All right, we got Kirk here on Zoom. Kirk, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Speak, sir.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we hear you. What's on your mind? Yes, sir, we hear you.
Excellent. Yeah, so the main point I wanted to make is, obviously he's blackballed, right? I'm a huge college football fan. I'm a huge NFL fan. It was the biggest drop in the history of the draft. I mean, that coon really annoyed me because he didn't even have a good argument. You know, he what he should have said if he really wanted to bash Shedeur is that he skipped some of the pre-draft evaluation, right? And that kind of bothered me because he gave the suspected racist NFL execs an out, right? Instead of and it cost him a lot of money. But the reality is, I think it's good. Shedeur's so big, he doesn't need the money. The NIL thing is great for the sport. Now you have these millionaire black kids who can make power moves and do what they want to do without really serious financial repercussions. I really wanted to mention that real quick.
Well, what they want to show is that they understand what you and your dad are thinking y'all gonna do, that you're gonna come with your own program and you're gonna be bigger than the league. And so the league is trying to defend itself and defend its primacy by trying to hobble you because they gotta draft you. They have to do that. But they're hoping they can prevent you from becoming bigger than the league walking in the door because they saw what you all just did in college football. And Deion's already told them you're coming to the NFL to do the same thing there. Come on now. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me see if we can get Huey up here on Zoom. Okay, we got Huey on Zoom. What's on your mind, Huey?
Not much, Brother Black. Looking at the Shedeur Sanders going to Cleveland. When I saw that news, I knew that the NFL, they were out to get him. The reason why I say that is because Cleveland is like one of the worst football teams. Their offensive line is terrible. And also they're going up against three of the I would say two of the best defenses, the Steelers and the Ravens. So that's kind of them getting back, trying to keep the brother from shining, and that's my opinion on that.
Well, here's my thing. Let me address that right quick. Shedeur does not have to be the best quarterback in the league. He just needs to be better than the previous quarterback for the Browns. What? Understand what the real goal is. He does not have to be Troy Aikman. He does not have to be Joe Montana. He does not have to be Tom Brady. He just needs to be better than the guy they had before. And that right there will disarm any arguments they have against him. As long as he can be better than who was sitting there before him. And that's what they're afraid of. If Deion, I'm not even a football person, and I know that one. As long as you're better than the guy who was previously there, that's all you have to do for the short term. Now, long term, we're going to have to run the board a little bit. But in the short term, your argument needs to be, by the way, I'm doing better than the guy you had here before. We're rebuilding. The team sucked when I got here. So, we're better. We're doing better than we were before. That's what they did in Colorado, remember? Didn't have to be a bowl champion in Colorado. You just had to be better than the coach and the team that was there the year before you. And they were.
And also to that previous caller that was talking crap about Shedeur Sanders, little did he forgot that when Shedeur and everybody and some of the players from the HBCUs went to Colorado, their first game was against TCU. I think they were 5th or 10th ranked in the nation, and they beat them. So there's the excellence right there from Shedeur and the team.
That's what it is. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get Emmanuel up here on Zoom. All right, Emmanuel, what's on your mind?
Hey, so I had a couple of thoughts thinking about this, even growing up. And I wasn't into football. I'm talking about academics, socially, growing up, in church and stuff like that. When you're trying to, as a young black man, I feel like when you're trying to be confident, there's a lot of people who are just kind of a pushback, you're doing too much, or, if you talk to depending on your support system, like your parents, you feel like sometimes you don't have support with them too, because they're like, oh, the Bible says to be humble. You don't want to be arrogant and stuff like that. And of course, this is not all black people's experience, but sometimes it feels that way. And if you don't have the support system, you don't know how to go there. I understand that you're kind of leading some young men to, step into their masculinity and, be confident and stuff like that. But what advice would you give to young men or men who are still battling with these issues of stepping into their confidence, stepping into their masculinity because of a system that is overly, like in every situation, whether it's corporate America, whether you're going to the banks or just whatever, everyone's trying to like put you down and saying you're being too arrogant when you're just being confident or just believing in yourself or something. And also, I just, for some reason, I feel like there's a parallel between this and Colin Kaepernick. I don't know why that keeps coming to mind, but yeah, I just want to get
there's a
your thoughts on
parallel
that.
when you see all these folk ganging up on somebody. It's like, okay, what did he do to piss all y'all off? Because I was watching the same thing and I don't see it. So if it was really that egregious, we all would be on the same page, and that was egregious. So, and we've seen you with other folk do it, and you all didn't get excited. And the only difference we can see is the color of them. So it's like, this looks familiar. Look, first of all, if you're in a corporate environment or whatever, don't let folk know what you know. That's the first thing. If you know they're white supremacists, you don't tell them. That's not the way you deal with it. You deal with it by moving silently. You deal with it by knowing more than other people know. How they disarm you is when you start telling them everything you know. So that's the first rule of the game, is don't tell them everything you know. You ear hustle, you listen, you take the lay of the land. All knowledge in, no knowledge out. You do your job, you do it well, but you do not give them insights into who you are and what you're thinking. So that's very, very important. Too often we try to prove ourselves by telling everybody what we know. And that's how you get caught, is by trying to convince them how much you know. If they hired you, they already know how much you know technically for the job. The only thing they want to know now is enough information, so if they want to do something to you, they already got information in tow for it. As far as confidence is concerned and masculinity, listen, power is not given, power is taken. You do not ask for power or authority. You assume it. It's already yours. You don't sit there and ask for it. Confidence is power. You do not ask anyone for it. I cannot convince you that it belongs to you. I know it belongs to me. And I know it can belong to you, but at the end of the day, you will make a choice. Does this belong to you or does it not? If it belong, you would not let me come up and yank your shoes off of you. You would not let me come up and yank your woman off of you. If you let me yank power off of you, that's a decision. So you do not ask for power. Dr. John Henry Clark taught us this. You don't ask for it. It is yours. You assume it or you take it. But you do not ask for something that belongs to you.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Black.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I can know that you should be empowered. I can know it for me. I can know it for you. I don't know how to get you to know it for yourself. You either got it and you take it or you don't. I mean, it's really that simple. I can tell you it's yours, but the courage to say, hey, I'm grabbing what's mine, that's got to come from you. All right, we got Tony here on Zoom. Tony, turn off your Zoom audio. What's on your mind? Tony, turn off your Zoom audio. Turn off your YouTube audio. He's got his YouTube playing. Turn off your YouTube audio.
All right, now, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Speak.
All right. Couple things. We all saw what happened yesterday. Deion Sanders was the antithesis of what the establishment in the NFL was. It took them 20 some odd years for them to get back at him. And for them to do that, they had to go to his son. The fact that Deion Sanders represents everything from flash, substance, charisma, talent, marketing, and able to display it and relay that to his sons is something that they're afraid of. Going back to the caller earlier, talking about how Shedeur didn't have any talent. The man was the Davy Bryan Award winner, the Golden Arm winner, Big 12 winner of the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Talk about leadership and intangibles. He's had it all the way since he was at Jackson State. The man was sacked 152 times when you talk about Jackson State and Colorado. And watching him make plays, he never belittled his offensive line. He always kept everybody up. He made plays. I think the thing that was disappointing the most in the draft over the last 3 days, especially with the Raiders, Tom Brady being his quote-unquote so-called mentor, they didn't draft him. That's something that caught me off guard. And then Mike Tomlin with the Steelers, knowing that they need a quarterback, passed him up 6 times, and they didn't get him either. Kind of funny, but I'm glad he's in that division I hope the brother makes some noise. It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he plays it correctly, brother, they've only helped him because the fact that they pushed him down in the draft, that has not dampened interest in him. All the damn headlines were about him. Think about that for a few moments, NFL. Y'all played dirty as you could, and all the headlines were still about him. So let me get this straight. He's at the top of the headlines if he's number 1, and he's at the top of the headlines if he's number 5 or 6. And you think you're going to put shade on his shine. You think you're going to do that. All you've really done is put him in the position. If you put him on the trash team, do you realize how easy it'll be for him to outperform where they were before? That's the first thing. So people don't buy. I need y'all to understand, people don't buy. Steve Jobs talked about this. Other marketing people talk about this. People don't buy products. They buy a story. When you're talking about a luxury product, they buy a story. Okay, the story, y'all just made a very compelling one. The league is against him. Do you know what that looks like now? Now it's the little guy against the league. Now, right. every time he plays now, he's not playing another team. He's playing against the league. This is like Rocky. You know, this is one of them old fight movies from the 80s and 70s. This is like that. This is what that is. All they've really done is tee him up for a hell of a comeback. And everybody in their mama be watching it, and here goes the whole damn story. So they'd have been just better off putting him on Pittsburgh and letting them suffer with Tomlin because they ain't getting nothing done. They've been better off just doing that. Instead, all they've really done is set him up to start a whole bigger story than he otherwise would have. Because if they put him on a good team, he'd have to do a whole bunch of stuff out the gate. And then they'd be saying he's not performing. They would be comparing him to Brady and whoever else and saying he's not performing. You put him on the trash team, that actually takes the pressure off now. That actually takes a lot of the pressure off. They've really done him a favor.
They really did. You know, funny thing with that too is when you look at the media too, this is their last stand. This is the establishment's last stand. They're going all out, not only in politics, but now over in sports. It bleeds over even into the commentators, your Colin Cowherds, your Mike Florios, your Dan Patricks, the buzzwords that they use. Oh, he should be humble. He should be thankful. You know, all those code words that's used, and he doesn't fit that narrative that the NFL likes to use with the quote unquote downtrodden player, you know, single parent home, trying to lift their family up. Look, Shedeur is there representing everything that his father is. He's a threat to them, not from a player perspective, but from an image perspective. And I'm just wishing the brother all the way success from here to the wheels fall off. So appreciate the time, Jason.
Thank you for giving us a call tonight. In the chat room, Bathtub Greens needs to give me a call up on Zoom. Bathtub Greens needs to give me a call up on Zoom. Let's go ahead and get back over here on Zoom. We got Kyle here on Zoom. At least I think I got Kyle here on Zoom. There you go, Kyle.
You got me.
All right, what's on your mind,
brother?
Kyle?
To piggyback off of the other individuals, speaking of Colorado, they were 1-11 before Deion got there. When Deion got there, they went 4-8, and then this year they went 9-4. So they've only improved since Deion got there. Also, they did this same jagged work towards Lamar Jackson, the Heisman winner, when he announced he was going to go into the draft. He was supposed to be number 1, and the league set him up to be the last pick in the first round. It was abysmal, and I see them doing the same thing with Shedeur, and I sort of kind of think it was also for attention grab, because they knew Shedeur was the big name going into the draft, and it was funny to me he made it all the way to the 3rd round, and a lot of viewership went towards that because people just was only looking to see where Shedeur was going. So all of that just very messy on their end, and it's just really tragic, and I definitely would like to see him shine. The tragic thing is he's in the AFC division, so he can definitely shine, but he's also in the division with Lamar, the same person they crapped on in the league. So it's obvious they don't want black men being successful, especially at that QB position or just period in the sports in general.
Well, they certainly want to make it clear that they don't want you being bigger than the league, and they certainly do not want that to be the culture. He is young. He's just coming out of college.
Yeah.
To have to deal with this type of culture that he'll create for the next decade, That's the kind of thing that completely transforms industries. Remember, like, I don't know how old you are, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, when Ice Cube left NWA, that changed the music industry. Michael Jackson was a bellwether moment, but that was the biggest thing that ever happened. The second biggest thing that happened was Ice Cube leaving NWA, because at that point, rappers stopped talking about driving cars and started talking about how much money I'm getting and what I own. That was what changed it. How much money I'm getting, how much I own. That transformed forever the way that we looked at the industry and what our goals were for getting there. And today, you don't even have record labels anymore. They're really just distributors. You build your own thing and then they'll offer you a bigger deal. But it's forever changed it. And we're better off for that. So if you have a Shedeur Sanders come there and it's all about the image, it's all about your ability to license your own image, and that you're really not overly concerned about what the teams are doing, except to the extent it benefits you, which is the way they play it. Because as soon as you don't benefit the team, you're gone. Okay, well, he coming in the door with it. So his father's taught him that. So as long as you have that as your priority, you're good. I'll let you have the last word.
I agree. Speaking of my age, I'm 36 now. It's a funny thing you said that, Jason. I started listening to you when I was 22, and I tell you this every time I speak about it every like 4 years or 3 years, because I graduate, and I say Kyle the electrician, but I'm an electrician because of you. I always remind you of the podcast that you had. You don't remember? It was years ago. I was 22. I was sitting in my car at FedEx parking lot and just trying to find something to do with my life. You had a bunch of brothers talk about what younger black men need to do. So I became an electrician, and that just jolted to me up. Now I'm a PLC engineer. I do all types of work just because of you, brother. I definitely commend you for it. You definitely taught me how to grab power and become more knowledgeable. And for that, I am very grateful.
Well, thank you very much, brother, and pay it forward. It was given to you. Now it's your turn to pass the game on. There's another fella out there who's sitting in his car somewhere you're going to come across. Don't write him off. Don't expect the worst.
For sure.
Remember,
For sure.
at once upon a time, you were a little hardhead who didn't want to listen to anything, and somebody in a better position than you took out the time to give you a chance.
You did. I don't know how it happened. I was on YouTube, and you was just on it, man. And I was watching a bunch of other bullcrap gamer channels, all that. Then some real black knowledge popped up. You popped up, man. You was going in, talking about how these single mom males need to stop being emotional. And you was really cutting deep, and it was hitting me. But it struck hard, man. I stuck to your game, man. I promise you, you made me such a successful man. I can't wait to call you some years later and tell you. I always change up my name with the electrician thing, but I'll definitely be calling you again, brother. And I'll definitely have some followers for you next time.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. At some point, I'll have a legacy for something. At some point. All right, let me go ahead and see if we can get MB up here on Zoom. Let me get MB up here on here. I'm going to take one or two more because we're over 3 hours right now. So let me go ahead and see if I can get MB up here on Zoom. Once we get MB, I'll probably take one or two more after that. But MB, where are you at, MB? We can't wait all night. All right, there you go. All right, MB, what's on your mind?
Hey, big bro. Thanks for having me on your broadcast, man. There's a couple things I want to go real quickly. The one thing about this whole, I guess, visual lynching of Shedeur and his down and basically killing his draft stock to the 5th round, third last day. It reminds me of the way the NBA was able to get their lick back at Kyrie. Now, we all know Kyrie's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he decides to hang it up or whatever. So you're not going to keep him out the Hall of Fame or nothing. But the way they was able to get Kyrie was keeping him off the NBA 75 list. Like that was mind-boggling. How is Kyrie not a top 75 player of all time? But NBA justified it because of the whole thing with the vaccines and also the thing with him and the whole, the Jewish tape that he promoted or whatever. I mean, because of that, NBA was like, oh, no, we got a way to get you. So this is real similar to that, the similarities of finding a way to get Shedeur.
No, it's rinse and repeat, brother. You are in a system. It's not an accident. It didn't just make itself last. This is what it's been for the last few hundred years. You are in a system, and They are looking for specific folk who do specific things that disrupt the system, and when you disrupt it, the program goes into effect. Everybody gets on code. Hey, we got a problem over here. We know what to do with our problems. Everybody get on code. Everybody gang up. Brother, you couldn't have the slavery laws, the slave catcher laws, Dred Scott, miscegenation laws. You can't have that if you don't have a society that's on code. Everybody got to be on the same page to make that happen, bro. That's not an accident. That's not a fluke. You can't do that unless you have a society that's working in unison and everybody knows what they're there for. You couldn't get it that organized and that uniform if they weren't working in unison. Over the course of centuries, no, bro. No, that's not an accident. This is the system, and when something happens, the system responds.
Yeah, word. And speaking of people that work for the system, talking about that white dude you was talking about, that was, you said his name of fame was getting to jail. He reminds me of a lot of these white dudes I know that talk to me, white dudes I used to work with, that talked about how, yeah, dude, I used to grew up in the hood in Philly. I used to grow up in worth parts of Frankfurt or Kensington or South Philly or something like that. And then they come around saying some ish like, yeah, I liked it, Tupac and Biggie. That's a shame. Then they'll say all that just to say some right wing or white supremacist leading ish. And I'm like, yeah, I ain't with that, bro. Like, he come with that same energy as a lot of them. That's the thing. A lot of these hoods or so-called hood white dudes come with that same damn energy that, when they come around us, they try to show some.
They try to chameleon their way through things. It's about getting you to drop your guard. It's about disarming you. And it always, always, always turns out the same way. Folks, if you watch the first 48, if they got their white partners with them, you the one going to jail. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We're going to get a couple more here before we wrap things up. Let me see if I can get Devon here on Zoom. All right, Devon, what's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Jason, man? Nice to meet you, brother. Well, nice talking to you. It's like my third or fourth time talking to me. But I just wanted to say, man, what they did to my boy Shedeur is crazy. That boy took a whooping, man. He earned it. I know his dad is prime time, but that kid earned it. This ain't no Bronny James situation. And another situation that we need to look at is how prime time. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I was just carrying my laundry upstairs. But how prime time inspired a lot of other former players to coach now. You got Coach Vic, you got Eddie George. I think he just made a move from the HBCU to Bowling Green. It's a FBS Division I school. It's a smaller school, but it's a great step. You got Deshaun Jackson, so like the establishment, they not happy with what Shedeur is bringing, Dion, and they don't like how a lot of black folks are supporting them too, so.
I mean, well, look, you can't really overturn the system by yourself, but what you can do is make a revolutionary move that stops everybody in their tracks.
Exactly.
And the problem with that is that becomes contagious. When one person does it and they thrive while they're doing it, and other folks realize they don't have to buckle down and be a coon and be fake, that they can thrive too without compromising themselves, that's the part that becomes contagious. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me see if we can get McKinley up here on Zoom. McKinley here. McKinley, I can give you about 2 more seconds here. Make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on for me here, McKinley. I can give you 2 more seconds here, and then we can go ahead and do that. All right, McKinley, what's on your mind?
How you doing?
All right, brother, what's on your mind?
I want to respond. Hey, okay. Yeah, I understand why they are doing this to the young man, because they don't like to see a young black man who comes from a good family and everything and be a committed individual to success.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think they have an issue with the pedigree of his family, because remember, the pedigree of our families doesn't impress them. Remember, they got 10 times the wealth. So I don't think that part is what bothers them. I think the part that bothers them is he's not actively looking for their approval. He's not looking for a white daddy. So I think it's less socioeconomic and more social. He's not one of the typical ones looking for a white daddy. He doesn't have any stories about a white coach who was his, vicarious father. It's not that movie, The Blind Side. They love having that film there, not just for the socioeconomic part of it, but the social aspect where you look up to them. You're looking to be a part of the system. You just look, I don't want to make no waves. I don't want to make no trouble. That's the part they have an issue with more than anything. I don't think, like, for example, let's just say that he comes from upper middle class family. Let's just say he was Lionel Richie's son, comes from a well-to-do family. They're not financially struggling. He's got 4 or 5 white girlfriends. He shows up at the draft. Well, I like to say, Coach Johnson, he was like my second father, and I just want to do good for the city of Cleveland. And I'm so glad to be here. And I thank the league for, giving me a chance because I've never really had a chance before. And, I just want to let you know that I'm going to make you proud. And, just give me a chance. I'm going to make you proud there. He ain't talking nothing like that. They're like, wait a minute. So it's like, your background is not so much of an issue as the fact you don't sound subservient. We're used to that. You're walking too tall. You ain't crawling. So you can come from a well-to-do family and still be crawling. You can come from a family that's not broke and still be crawling. So they're like, the fact your family didn't struggle is no excuse for you not crawling. Down on your knees, boy. You are giving issues. Down on your knees. And he's like, my knees a little too stiff for that, Jack. Can't do that. Okay, well, let's put you 5th in this damn draft and see how them knees do then. So in my opinion, I think that's what the issue is. I don't think our families impress them in that way. I think it's the upbringing of you didn't teach him to be subservient. That doesn't matter where he comes from socioeconomically. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, because he's a young black man with too much confidence.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the whole thing really is.
How do you sell somebody something when they think they already got it all?
And deal with it, nigga.
To all the folks out there, Northside Tethers and everybody else, by the way, he doesn't feel like you got nothing to sell him. Okay, so what that also means is you ain't got nothing to buy him off with. He can live and deal with you on his terms because he's not looking to get something from you. He's here telling you about what he's going to give you, not what you going to give him. He's like, I already got it. I'm here to tell you about what you going to get from me. Oh, you're not supposed to have that attitude. It's supposed to be humble pie and bowing and scraping. Yes, I'm so glad you brought me over here. Man, after I finish tilling the fields, I'm gonna come back here and thresh some wheat, and then we're gonna make some grits, and then I'm gonna give me plenty of sleep tonight so we can get up tomorrow and work out. He ain't doing none of that. That attitude right there, I don't give a damn what job you have, profession you have. That attitude right there, that's gonna be abrasive to the dominant society, no matter what you're doing.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Like I said, I know a lot of folks said that there might be an element of that, but I don't think that's overriding because our families' pedigrees, doesn't impress them. It's no amount of money that any of us have is really going to impress them. However, your attitude toward them, now that's the part that's offensive. It's like, okay, we don't give a damn if your family's rich or not. You're not bowing. You've forgotten where you fall in the pecking order? Did you forget that we're not equals? Because you're sure talking like we're equals, and we're not equals. Now we got to remind you where you fall in the pecking order. We don't give a damn what your daddy told you. We're not equals. You walking a little too tall, walking a little too straight. Now let's see if we can break that backbone down. All right, we got Alistair here on Zoom. Alistair, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Brother Jason? Good. I'm glad you brought this subject up and everything else. And, what they really don't like, but the media really doesn't really like, they don't like strong black men, black fathers, guiding, trying to help their siblings into sports. Whether it's Richard Williams with the Serena Williams and Venus Williams, Earl Woods, Deion Sanders and his 2 sons, or LeVar Ball, or Lewis Hamilton's father, Anthony Hamilton. They don't like seeing strong black male fathers involved in sports at all. They rather see a broke down, humble black athlete. And, I love Michael Orr, came from humble beginnings, but, they like to see that they like to see that. They want to see this type of different strokes type of reality of a black athlete, who appears to be slow learning, but he's got some athletic gifts and everything else, and he's made it through.
So you can be controlled. You do all the manual labor. You do the manual labor and do the low IQ stuff, and you let us white folks take care of all the high IQ stuff and the money. You let us take care of that. That's the preferred candidate.
Exactly. Same thing in the sport of soccer. Whether it's Major League Soccer, you get somebody, and not to denigrate people who come from an immigrant background and everything else. You get picked by some old world soccer club, like say like FC Barcelona, Liverpool. You came from Africa and everything else, but they can control you and everything else. They can control your finances and everything else, your image and everything, and all that. And they can go up there and point they will use it as an example is follow what this African or this Caribbean is doing and everything else. Don't have this uppity big mouth black father like a Richard Williams or a Deion Sanders. That's the point I'm trying to get right there. They don't want that. They want to see a buck broken black athlete.
Yeah, because they did not build this thing to benefit you. They built it to benefit themselves, and benefit starts with the control of it. Control starts with the way that you see yourself. If you see yourself as little son and you see them as white daddy, that is what guarantees the maintaining of the system. If you, however, show up and you do not see them as a father figure, there's a reason why they named it the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It's all about you looking up to them. Well, when you walk in the door, you make it clear, I'm not really looking up to you like that. I don't disrespect you, but I don't deify you or look up to you like that. You got something to offer me, and I got something to damn sure offer you, because without me, all you got is a big-ass stadium and nothing to put in it. Cheerleaders, let me see how that goes. So I bring value to this, and I know what my value is, and I can do that, and I don't have to deify you for it. It's like, okay, wait a minute. This is problematic, especially if we get a whole damn team of y'all. Kaepernick is out of the league today because the biggest threat was if we wake today. You got one. You let him stay here long enough, he's going to do that Malcolm X thing and proselytize, and now you got a whole team full of them. Do we really want them problems?
Yep.
This is not about control of today, people. This is about control of the future. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. This is not about today. This is about control of the future. Keep that in mind. We will see how it comes down here. For the most part here, for his part there, I wish you were the best at it. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. He's got an opportunity now to write one of the greatest stories in the NFL. They have handed him a golden opportunity. And if I know this, then I know his father knows this. And of course, you figure his father expected this. So Deion is not at all surprised. Of course, you had to expect that something like this would occur. So now you know what to do. And this is a cautionary tale for all of us, not just them. It's for all of us. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to a nice program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, to my man Keenan. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. Ryan, thank you very much. Jerome, Ray Meese, Marcus, everybody else here who's contributed to a nice program. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.